running all over the Ravens defense.
Detroit has it with the quarterback off under center. The snap, the spin. Handoff Montgomery over the left side. The 30 got a block at the 20 on the number. Sideline 10. Broke the tackle 5. Inside the pylon. Touchdown Detroit. Oh, the dagger. 31-yard touchdown run, Montgomery.
That courtesy NFL Westwood One, heard right here on 92.3 The Fan. Detroit wins at 38-30. Montgomery had 151 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Lions now 2-1. Lamar Jackson had 3 TD passes for the Ravens, but also sacked 7 times. Baltimore falls to 1-2. Guardians chance not to pull even with the Tigers in the American League Central. The club started a 3-game series at Progressive Field. Detroit leads the division by 1 game. Gavin Williams starts for Cleveland. Derrick Henry goes for the Tigers. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carmen Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Make the afternoon drive your soundtrack on the way into the Guardians games. And talk about the game on your way home on overtime. The best Guardians coverage is right here on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carmen Show with Anthony Lima.
We have to score points. You don't want to just constantly put your defense in those positions. So our job as an offense is to end drives, every drive with a kick, presumably a PAT if that's your number one goal. That's our focus on our offense.
Yeah, I think the run game is really like an investment. You got to really wear them down. Sometimes like the score gets a certain way and you can't do that, but I feel like the run game, those like 3, 4, 5 yard runs, they turn into 14, 30 as the game goes on. Just keep chipping at him, and Quinshon's the real deal. Like just getting him the ball more and more, I feel like he's getting more and more comfortable.
The effort for 60 minutes, all 60 minutes were required, and really pleased with how the guys fought and hung in there and endured and were resilient, and then you come away with a win versus a real good football team.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan. Hell yeah! Good morning.
Morning.
I'm sorry, I threw you off there with a hell yeah. I apologize.
No.
Oh, you seemed a little
That's
jarred.
good. They won.
They did.
So you get to do it all week.
No, I get to do it till like the end of the day today.
What, you're over it already?
No, but I can't celebrate all week. The Lions just played last night. We got to get ready for that. I mean, there's a lot to get to. And we have arguably playoff baseball basically starting already.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
It's been going on for 2 weeks.
It's been going on for a while. But here back at home, even though the weather might be a little, whatever, we'll get that figured out. Tone, do you want me to start with the new rule, or do you want to start with the Lions first? Do you want me to get the new rule out of the way, or do you want me to wait till the end of the segment to tell people the new rule?
Go ahead.
Well, because you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Because you're like, well, you get to celebrate all week. And I'm like, no, I don't get to celebrate all week. And then there were people yesterday who wanted to take the celebration away. And I think there's a thing to it where...
Take it away?
Yes. They wanted to take the celebration away.
Well, we bitch about losses for 7 days, but wins, we only get 1 day to celebrate?
I think that there's a thing. I think that there's plenty of people out there who have taken the tact, which I fought for a long time, where they are rooting against the team in hopes that they lose so you get rid of the head coach and the general manager. And I think there's a lot of people out there that believe that if they win again, which I'm going to explain why this doesn't make any sense in the first place. But if they win a game, then I'll take that and I'll run with it. And that's a reason to hold on to Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. Like, guys, they won 3 games last year. But they won their first game since the snow game last year against Pittsburgh. That's an amazingly long period of time. If they won 1 or 2 or 3 games this year, you're not making the argument. But I'm going to celebrate that. In fact, I think I can celebrate a win, an improbable win, and then still say, yeah, the head coach is certainly not out of the woods, and neither is the general manager. I don't think that that's hard. And I think that there's people going, no, if you celebrate this one win, then all of a sudden he's going to be back forever. It's like, no, they have a lot to prove. It's silly to deny yourself any joy whatsoever based on firing the head coach or keeping the head coach or the general manager, as well. You shouldn't deny that. And immediately, I think that we tried to be denied that by some people, which I got to tell you, I think we have a new rule where yesterday we were loaded with calls. But it got to the point with some of the calls where Owen knows this. Like, we were full with calls, and I'm like, man, usually I want to take calls after a big Browns win. I want to take calls on a Browns Monday regardless. And I'm going, they're all talking about firing the coach still. And I'm like, man, I'm just not in the mood after a big Browns win to start talking about firing coaches all day long every day. Like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's obviously some sort of weird incentive to calling into sports talk radio shows to say fire people. So
do you get a tax break on that?
That's always been a part of the fabric of sports talk radio, but it just makes no sense after a win. And this happened 2 years ago when they had an improbable win over San Francisco, and the first call out of the gates. It's one I'll just never forget. The first call out of the gates was Stefanski's got to go, and I'm just like, I give up. Like why even go to the phones? If that's a reaction? Like, I get it every year. And this guys, it's happening in Pittsburgh. We always bring it up. I know nobody cares here. Every year that you bring back a regime, a coach and an organization, a front office, and you're not the Super Bowl champ, and it doesn't look like the arrow's pointing up because the Browns were supposed to be one of the worst teams in football this year. Yeah, they're gonna want changes, and winning games only gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
Because even we said yesterday, like, we were thrilled with the win, but we're like, man, with this offense, they're just going to win very few games.
Yes, they are.
The defense has been all-time dominant through 3 games. You're 1-2. You could very easily be 0-3. Yeah, you could be 2-1 too. But you could see how hard it is for them to overcome.
Yeah.
How bad the offense is. So I just don't understand why I got to call the phone number and tell the host as if we don't hear it every day. Your point of view is not unique.
I think
it's not interesting to me. We're all on the same page, and if this thing goes south really bad, we've already said it. We're in we're going into week 4. We've already said.
But the
two of us agree that there will probably be changes if it not everybody agrees, but it doesn't need to be addressed after the win when that was an awesome win at home.
But you notice my language, and I think a lot of people notice my language when I say it. Because I always say, like, yeah, this isn't going to stay. Like, I have a vote of basically no confidence in, well, I mean, this draft class looks good, but it's also almost probably too little too late. I mean, it's been 6 years. And I think you would have a vote of very little confidence in the general manager or the head coach. And I would say, and I always couch it with, well, I like them as guys, but you're probably moving on after this year. And I think there's people who believe that the media, because they are Kevin Stefanski in a weird way, he doesn't want to give you anything, but he's also more cordial than a lot of guys that have been head coaches for the football team in the past. And because of that,
he doesn't blame the media. He doesn't act like a victim.
Yeah,
we've had so many coaches.
We had a couple guys act like a victim. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And fans see through that immediately. Kevin just gives you nothing, but you got to give him credit here. Like, he's never acted like, this is the roster you gave me. He's never done that. Or, what are you guys talking about? I have this record now against above 500 teams at home that rivals the Chiefs and the Eagles. How are you talking about me as if I might lose my job? He doesn't do that.
I think there's a lot of fans out there who feel we will go out of our way to make excuses for Kevin Stefanski. And so they feel the need to go, hey, they're still 1-2. They're still bad. These guys are going nowhere. They need to jettison these guys. And so you can't celebrate this win. And plus, there's still a group of people who are still upset about the other quarterback doing well. So they're very upset about that. And so they need to remind us anytime there's anything good that the team's not good and that they're not going anywhere and that you need to let go of the head coach and the general manager. And I'm going, guys, I think we'll get there. I think you and I understand, like, probably we'll get there. I would love it to go the other way. I would love it to be turning into old hat where we're winning football games. But I don't believe it's going to go that way. Like, this was an improbable win on Sunday. I think we can all admit that. So now I think it's just like, well, why can't we celebrate while we have it and then, move on? I think Wednesday is the time that you really move on from it and get ready for the Detroit Lions and how you beat Detroit, because that looks like a real good offense again. So and there's questions that I saw in that game yesterday that I was like, well, I don't know if I would do that. Like, right at the end of the game we were watching right before it, but we'll talk about that as the week goes on. So I think the new rule is no more calling in to fire the... Now, you can Trojan horse it, I guess, but I don't want to... If they win a football game, do we have to call and say to fire the coach still? Is that can that be a new rule for the show?
Does he get 24 hours of amnesty after a win?
Of no firing the coach? Yeah. Yes. Because I felt like we let...
So they can call for his firing today.
There were probably... Yeah, maybe. Yeah, why not? Because there were a lot of good... I thought there were a lot of good calls there on the box, but I didn't trust him because we took a run of calls that started out really ugly and then continued to be ugly to the point where I didn't even want to take the calls. And I want to be able to take the calls. I want to be able to talk to the listeners. And if I can't talk to the listeners after a Browns win, I mean, when the hell are we going to be able to talk to listeners?
It's just that's always the catch-22 of the sports talk caller in general is the incentives are always to be the worst, the most vitriolic. Mm-hmm. And if that person's sitting there after a win to talk about firing the coach, then you know it's a broken record. Everybody in their life, they're hearing that every single day.
Yes.
They're probably sick and tired of you.
Yes.
To be honest. So, but again, it's year 6. So there's way more evidence in the fire anybody associated with the Browns category than there is, oh my God, these guys are going to win the Super Bowl. So that's going to win out every day unless they do something that, Kevin has done twice now, which is shock the critics, shock the world, and take a team that wasn't supposed to go to the playoffs.
Some may call him the shock master.
If he does it again, a third time, shock master indeed.
Put the helmet on and send him through the drywall.
Right through the drywall, brother.
I smell a dog pound, Captain.
We're going to get the Guardians at 6:20. Also, Matt Derry's going to join us at 9 today. And Curtis Danberg, Guardians Vice President of Community Impact and Communications, he's going to join us at 6:43. Lions did win last night. Can I ask a very interesting question to you? Because I want to see if you guys got eyes on it as well. I want to throw it to you as well. Third straight game with a fumble. Beginning of the end for Derrick Henry. 31 years old. He's still averaging nearly 6 yards a carry, though.
Yeah, 28-yard touchdown run.
Yes.
He had a better effort on that one run than he had in the entire game against Cleveland.
As a lot of folks will say, take away that one run here. Like, there was one run for Derrick Henry that if you took away against the Browns, he averaged like 2.9 yards a carry against the Browns. Everybody's like, well, I mean, God, how are you going to stop Derrick Henry? And they've had win against Tennessee in 2019, week 1. They've had very bad games against Derrick Henry, and they've had some very good games against Derrick Henry. It's been a mixed bag against Derrick Henry. But the Browns did a good job of stopping him last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago. And the Lions, what did he have, 50 yards last night? And then he had that crucial fumble when they were down 31-24. And they looked like they were on their way in, if I'm not mistaken, correct? He slammed his helmet down and fell on the bench. It was a very ugly scene. Beginning of the end for Derrick Henry.
No,
too soon.
It's too soon.
And just making sure. I'm just asking questions.
Especially because the dynamic between him and Lamar, it's like they both... How in the NBA we talked about Steph Curry could go 1 of 13 from 3, but all the attention is on him.
Uh-huh.
That is the dynamic with both him and it's like there's so much attention on both those guys that a whole bunch of other guys can get involved in a big way. Like they got Mark Andrews back on track finally yesterday, and like Baltimore's like, holy cow, if we have Mark Andrews on track, like that changes everything. We're a real dynamo. Of course, they're 1-2, and they're tied with us, at the bottom of the division. Yeah. But they've had a tough schedule too. So I don't think it's the beginning of the end yet. He is still so fast. He's still a threat to score a touchdown on any of these plays. And it feels like with Derrick Henry, it's just a matter of time always when that happens. So no, I think it's still literally like
I just wanted to make sure.
Even in those last years in Tennessee, he wasn't doing the Nick Chubb stuff of even if there's not a hole, I'm getting like he needs a bit of a hole at times. Derrick Henry, he does.
He'll get through it. But I had to ask you guys whether or not it was the beginning of the end. Did you see anything with the Lions that they could take advantage of? Or is this just like, well, this is going to be a good offense against a good defense?
So the Ravens, what I was really looking at, because now everything through the prism for the Browns the rest of the year unless I see something different at quarterback, right? Everything is going to be through the lens of other teams' offensive lines against our defensive line. Because that's how we have to win the game. We have to be absolutely dominant.
Yeah.
And Baltimore, we were dominant for only so long, and we just couldn't keep it up. So I think the Lions
turned it over too, which puts you in a bad spot.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
So that just makes it so much tougher.
Yeah.
So I kept looking at that offensive line for Detroit, and man, are they confident. Jared Goff barely got touched last night. So obviously, I think we have right now the best defensive line in football. So we're a bit of a challenge. The Ravens come at you in different ways. They come at you from every different angle, every different level on the football field, and none of those games seem to get to Goff. He was pretty much his jersey was perfect at the end of the night yesterday. He was 20 of 28, and of course they ran the ball. So will David Montgomery be able to run the ball against us the way he did last night? He had 151 yards at 72
last night
on one, and Jahmyr Gibbs obviously goes without saying.
No, they got hit. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have Jamison Williams. They've historically had some athletes there. They've historically had some weapons there.
And they might use those guys in the running game too, in a way the other teams have not so far this year.
Yeah, if you were watching that last night, like they are a really, 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 really good offense. I was worried about them losing their coordinators. Ben Johnson doesn't look like as big of a loss as what we thought he was going to be. We're still in the first month of the season there. It doesn't look like he's as big of a loss as we first thought he was going to be. Aaron Glenn, I think, is still a good loss, or a big loss for as a defensive coordinator. We'll see what he does with the Jets. I think the Jets will probably make him look bad.
Their identity is the same. They'll go for it on every fourth down.
Yeah, they will.
They don't care. Like Jared Goff, they trust him like he's Patrick Mahomes on fourth down. They do not care, and he converts.
216-474-0092. All right, if you wanted to call and fire the coach, now is when it opens up. So if you're dying to, fine.
Yeah,
but
we'll still probably make fun of you.
You can tell it's playoff push time on the way in. There was observations abound. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
car, the one that gets you to the big game, the one that brings your firstborn home, the one that's part of every adventure. A Toyota from Classic isn't just a car, it's a member of the family. You can always trust Classic Toyota. Stop in today or get to driveclassictoyota.com.
The best Guardians coverage is right here on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Curtis Danberg in 20 minutes. It feels like a playoff push already. Owen noticed it. I noticed it on the drive-in. Lima, you never noticed anything, so I don't know if you noticed it. All lights are on over at Progressive Field. That wasn't a shot at you. You just live kind of in your own world on your own drive. That's why you leave your snow up on the top of your roof and you snow bomb people as you're driving down the highway.
I've matured. I will not be doing that anymore.
Oh, you're going to take the time out at 5 in the morning to take the snow off the roof of your car?
Yes.
Why must you lie on the radio?
This is the old me versus the new me.
Oh, was I called a liar and a panderer yesterday on the radio?
I assume that's every day.
Was that what? No. Why would I? Was I called a liar and a panderer yesterday?
What are you specifically referring
I got a couple of tweets about the opening segment of Nick and. I would say Jonathan. Jonathan wasn't in. Congratulations. Yes. I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything else. I have no idea. So.
Well, you ruined it last time.
So. Yeah. Okay. I did, didn't I? Yeah. Well, congratulations. He missed for a good reason. Was I called a liar and a panderer yesterday? You want to play the audio?
I gotta go get it.
Well, okay.
We didn't discuss this.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I want to make sure I'm not lying or pandering to anybody over the most innocuous things ever. Should we play it, Tone, or should I ignore it? You want me to play it? All right,
I didn't hear it, so.
Okay, here's yesterday. We're going to get in the Guardians here in a second. Here's Nick yesterday on Afternoon Drive. He was with Jake Volnick, who he calls Big Weege, even though Jake, I don't think, really likes that nickname, but whatever. Here's Nick yesterday during Afternoon Drive.
When Andre Schmidt, who's now the chosen one, until you miss a kick, you are the chosen one, Andre Schmidt. When he kicked that, and by the way, any human being today saying, I knew it was going in, they're either lying or pandering. Because while I was doing that, I was like, okay, if he misses this and we go to overtime, none of these offenses are going to score. This is going to be a tie. I mean, can he just make this kick? No one knew he was going to make the kick. That's what makes the story so awesome. Like, that's what kills me about I knew he was going to make it. You didn't know crap. I've watched so much Browns football. Every Cleveland Browns fan on the continent knew he was going to miss that kick, except Andre Schmidt and the good Lord himself. And anyone telling you otherwise is lying or pandering.
Invoking the good Lord, we are. The minister, Nick Wilson. Yeah, I got a couple of texts going, hey, I think Nick's calling you a liar and a panderer. I go over Andre Schmidt. Why would I lie about Andre Schmidt hitting what I thought he would hit the kick? Well, I thought he would hit the kick.
I did ask you how you could have been so lacking of confidence in his career that you wanted him cut after one game.
I felt it was. I felt
now
it was
you had
fate.
A complete reversal.
That's a great question. I felt it was fate that he would hit the kick. Why would I lie? Of all the things I could lie about, why would I lie about Andre Schmidt? My feeling that Andre Schmidt would hit the kick. Why would I lie about that of all things?
Where did that fate thing develop, though? At what
I think
point?
it probably
you clearly weren't feeling that way.
I think
after he lost the first game,
it probably developed between beer 7 and 8. To be honest with you, but I watched it and I go, there's no way he's missing this kick. I made such a big damn deal about it. We all made such a big damn deal about it, about letting him go after the Bengals game. I go, this is the non-science of kicking. He's going to hit this kick.
Now, did you text anybody? Did you make a video? You make a lot of videos.
I don't like to text during games. I made a video after the game real quick.
Did you tell your kids?
My wife and children were not home.
Because this does now seem a little convenient that there's no recording of history.
Why do I need to record everything for posterity?
That's the thing. You have in the past.
When have I done that?
That's what people have loved about you are these totally organic videos that are definitely not staged. That's what people have come to know and love about Mr. Cleveland, Ken Carmen. So that's why
I didn't stage
I assume
a
there was
GD thing.
I assume
my
that's
wife
a Ken Carmen
videotaped me without me knowing.
I mean, the one was a 3-camera shoot.
There was no 3 cameras.
There was also a
there
laugh
were no
track,
3
which
cameras.
I thought was really
there was
weird.
no laugh track. There was no laugh track. There was no nothing.
Remember the time he busted the television with a beer bottle, and it looked like it looked like a weird edit after that one tough loss.
I'm a hothead at times, but I'm not going to break equipment, and I'm certainly not going to break a fabulous television from Extend Technologies over football. That's not going to happen. Listen, it's my word.
You're going to show how durable they were.
Of all the things I could lie about, guys. Like, I know I'm a radio show host. We're not trustworthy people. We are tellers of tall tales. We are tellers of stretching the truth. But of all the things I could lie about, why would I lie about that? Why on earth would I lie about that? A week 3, of all the things, a week 3 game. Oh, I felt he was going to make the kick. Okay. So me and the good Lord above, as Nick invoked. Okay, so it was me and God. Who knew he was going to make the kick?
You are on record in saying it's a make or miss league.
Yes, and he made it, so he gets to stay.
I think going forward, Ken Carman needs to be on record on whether he thinks on that given day, if there is a chance to win the game, it'll be a make or miss situation.
Before kicks, I need to put out publicly make or miss.
I think it would help Nick. I think Nick needs that clarity.
I'm not doing it for Nick. I will do it for you and Owen and our listeners. I'm not going to do it for Nick.
See, now
do we need to hire an independent evaluator that you can confide in your thoughts on what the kick is going to be seconds before the kick happens?
Well,
an arbiter.
Who is the person then?
Sue Ann Robinson.
Sue L. Robinson.
Sue Ann Mishke.
Sue Ellen Mishke. Yeah. Do I call Sue L. Robinson and tell her right before?
Margolius and Margolius.
And Margolius and Margolius and Margolius and Margolius. If I tell one of the Margoliuses, will I be okay?
Margolii.
Just of all the things, why would I lie about that? But I know you're busting my stones here. Why would I lie?
I don't think you would.
I will tell you, I felt the same. I was like, dude, he's gonna. The way the game was unfolding,
you're a liar and a panderer.
He's gonna hit this, right?
Congratulations, you're a liar and a panderer.
He's both.
That's fine. I don't really care what anyone thinks of me. I'm good with it.
Yeah, but you don't care.
That's true.
I do care.
You do.
Because my word is supposed to be my bond in so many ways, and I felt that honesty is one of our best things.
I've always thought, Ken, that actions speak louder than words.
Our reasons to but when you talk for a living, my actions are my words. So the only thing that I can stand by is my word and my willingness to admit when I'm right or wrong. And when I'm wrong, I think that this show has been more than willing to admit that we're wrong.
Yes.
And so far on Andre Schmidt, I am wrong. He stayed. He hit the game-winning field goal. Everybody's happy. I'm glad that he did. I was wrong. If I had Andre Schmidt on the show, I would say, hey, I'm sorry I got so worked into a shoot. I just think that wins are precious, and I got mad at you. I apologize. Hopefully he would accept the apology.
Now we're a week away. Do you have a gut feeling today? And it could change. It can certainly change over the course of the week. Do you have a gut feeling if he has a chance
it's
to
indoors.
win the game?
He's hitting the kicks. He'll hit the game winner this week.
61-yarder and whatever they call that thing in St. Louis now.
6:33 and 27 seconds. Indoor game. If they have a chance to win, he's hitting that kick.
Did you see, by the way, you're on record. Did you see yesterday there was an attempted 67-yard field goal last night, and it had the distance?
Just didn't have the accuracy.
I don't know if I like living in a world where guys can kick 67-yarders.
Curtis Danberg comes in at 6:43.
Well, you want to abolish the kicks.
Am I allowed to say, because we're in a weird time right now with the Guardians. Everybody's excited about the Guardians. I think everybody should be excited about the Guardians. It's a playoff push. Right now, what's the possibility? Is it still at 59%? I'd like to round up to 60, but it won't let me do it. Right now, your probability is at 58.9%.
That's for playoffs.
For the playoffs, yes. Detroit is at...
Yeah, go ahead.
Detroit's at 84.8.
They were 99.9 this time last week.
There you go.
It's insane.
That's as wild as it gets. So basically, you're in the hunt until the end of the week, at least, is how this is going to go.
Yeah, you were like 7.2 last week.
Am I being too soft? And if we're talking in an issue of softness, am I being too soft if I say it's already been a great year? Is that too soft a conversation to have? And don't just agree with me because who just walked in the door over there. See, now
I didn't hear what you said. Say it
he
again.
influences the conversation.
What'd you say?
Yeah, a man walks in with free hot dogs, now all of a sudden you went. I said,
I'm
can I say it's already been a great year? Can I say it's already been a great year?
No, I don't think you
can.
can.
Why can't I say that? Are you saying it now just because you want to stick it to him because you don't want to be called soft because he's in the room there?
I don't think so yet. We are on the brink of doing
you're getting
something.
less hot dogs now.
Well, we're on the brink of doing something special. Again, today, they are underdogs. They are underdogs today against one of the best pitchers in baseball, who they just beat, who they just knocked around, who they beat last year in a deciding game.
I'm also good with that because they have this column that says last 10, and for Cleveland it says 9-1, and for Detroit it says 1-9. And
they've been really, really bad. And I would imagine that they're all focused on today. Up there is on the Lions winning.
And their manager has been steadfast. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Well, yeah,
as they have whittled down this lead.
See, that's where the honesty plays in that I just talked about. Because if I were him, I'd be saying the same thing. He made the postseason last year. I don't think in a game like baseball, like in football, there might be a time where I stand there and I start cussing at guys and saying, this is what needs to be. You need to get going. But in baseball, hey, I don't know if this is the time to be freaking out. I don't know if this is the time for fire and brimstone and getting in people's craw here. When you still have that lead, you still have to play confidently, and you don't want to make a tight situation even tighter. So I agree with A.J. Hinch's tact on saying, hey, we woke up this morning, we're still in first place. I don't think that's an arrogant thing to say. I think I'd probably do the same thing if I were him. So I respect him for that move. For the Guardians, I think it's like, well, we weren't expected to be here. I think it's time to give them hell. So I think both teams should try to play loose. Not sloppy, but loose. 216-474-0092. Coming up at 8:45 this morning. Week 3, the neutral zone with Rat Boy and the Hog. Coming up next, Curtis Danberg going to join us, Guardians Vice President of Communications and Community Impact. The playoff push starts now for your Cleveland Guardians on the Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here from Peter and Company.
There's Red Bull Original and sugar-free, first-round pick watermelon, and the newest rookie Red Bull Zero. Score 3 8-ounce cans for $6.50 and save 10 cents off a gallon with the True Rewards app. Available in your favorite app store.
Miss one day and you miss a lot. We are the radio home of the Cleveland Browns.
Here we go, Brownies! Here we go!
92.3 The Fan.
Guardians taking on the Detroit Tigers, finishing up the season this week, and I don't want to jinx it, but going to the postseason. And Curtis Danberg joins us right now to talk about it. Guardians Vice President of Communications and Community Impact just rolls off the tongue. Hello, Curtis. Good morning, to you. What's going on this week? What's the last few weeks been like for you?
Well, this whole season's been a roller coaster. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if we were talking on September 1st, we could have predicted this, but here we are, and that's the beauty of baseball.
Well, we had definitely. I'm not going to lie. I had a hand in burying them. Right? We saw
multiple
them
times.
Oh, you had a shovel of dirt,
and anybody that would call up, it was just this season. It's a wash. There's nothing here. I continue to say for the longest time, like, well, there's some pieces and parts. There's nothing special here. And then now there's the story of baseball. To the point where every day I look on ESPN, like the headlines, Jeff Passan, the national guys, Ken Rosenthal, like they're all getting in on this. What is it, do you think, about this team that it would have been very easy for them, given what the offense looked like for so long, the issues that were out of your control completely with an investigation, that this team is not only hanging in there today, if the season were to end today, they'd be in the playoffs.
It's unbelievable. Perseverance. Team, like they've come together as a team. And we saw this last year, but I mean, talk about dramatic ups and downs. I mean, you lose 10 games, you win 10 games. In fact, we had not lost 9 of 10. So really like 19 of 20 collectively, we lost. So you put all that together, and I think to answer your question, it's been the pitching. I mean, the starting rotation has been incredible for 2 weeks now, and that's really been the anchor.
What's helped the starting rotation come around here? Is it just time? I mean, has there been any extra help or anything like that with them, or what has happened? Because they've for a while there. I mean, by the time that you let Carlos Santana go, which I understood, and I'm thinking, well, it's the year. I was worried about the pitching staff going, well, if we don't make the postseason, we don't make the postseason, but I want to feel good about the rotation.
Right.
And at the time, I wasn't feeling very good about the rotation. And they've come on so strong here recently. Do you know any secret?
Well, I think I don't know if it's a secret, but shifting to the 6-man rotation for whatever reason really set the rotation on fire. And I don't know if it was the extra at the end of the year, that extra day of rest allowed them, but all these guys have stepped up, and I think they've just been feeding off each other. But really, when we shifted to that 6-man rotation, knowing that we were going to have the 28th man, in September, that really kind of changed everything.
Well, it's fun to see, too, that the Tigers have had to shift their rotation accordingly. So you've got other teams now reacting to you. I think you're definitely in their heads, which I think is a great spot to be in, starting today. And I saw this yesterday, and I swear to God, I thought there's no chance this was accurate. Like, I knew the pitching had been good, but runs allowed last 18 games. Yeah. Okay, you got like Minnesota at the bottom, 119. All right, league average, it would seem like it's around the Red Sox, it's 79. Second best, Cubs, over the last 18 games, 65 runs given up. The Guardians are number one by a mile, 28. 28 runs. I don't think I've ever seen a stat that lopsided, especially this time of year. That is what's so crazy that they're able to do it, because like you said, it is brutally tough to try to keep arms, this time of year, to have them look like they're looking. And it's just they are lapping the rest of the majors.
It reminds me of, remember 2013 when we had that 10-game winning streak and that run, Giambi's homer. You get on a roll this time of year, you never know what can happen. I mean, this is a historical run. Now, we have to finish it off, but we have a chance here to do something pretty special.
Curtis Danberg joining us from the Cleveland Guardians, Vice President of Communication and Community Impact. So what do we have going on this week over at the stadium?
So, two teams that are vying for postseason berths. So you've got the Tigers in for 3. We're 1 game behind them in the division, and then the Rangers are right there in the wild card race. So it's important. Voter did it on Sunday, just asking for the fans to come out. We're sitting mid-20,000s for the Tigers series. We're at 30 on Friday, 28 on Saturday, mid-20s on Sunday. So great chance for the fans to come out. Fee-free if you have until tonight. First pitch at 6:40 for the entire homestand to get tickets without paying any fees.
Oh, that's you said 30 on Friday, by the way. That's a very nice number for a Friday in September, by the way.
Yeah, and Saturday will be kind of the fan appreciation where we've got fireworks, $1 dogs, $2 beers.
How much is the 6:40 first pitch helped?
I think it helps a lot, especially
and then the pitch clock as well.
Yeah, I think 6:40 this time of year, when you've got school in session and things like that, I think that gives you time to get home, get your families come down to the ballpark, but still get home at a reasonable time. So, you can be home by 9:30.
And I know we've talked about this before, and even in the preseason, getting ready for the season during spring training and things like that. But the pitch clock, there's actually a conclusion to the game for most people, where it's it was kind of an open-ended thing. You really didn't know when you were going to leave back in the day, which I felt that hurt, not just here, but I felt it hurt everywhere.
Oh, it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again. It's helped attendance as a whole in Major League Baseball. Certainly has helped in Cleveland, too.
Well, we were wondering when they had that series in Detroit, that was going to feel like playoffs. The crowds were going to be huge. And I think that's what Vogt is saying he wants to see here over the next week. This is the time to fill this place up because these guys are playing like they are playoff ready. I feel like they wish the World Series could start tomorrow. The way that they are playing, do they think they could lose to anybody?
A lot of confidence.
With that kind of confidence. So that's what's been awesome about this. And I just get this feeling. And I know anything can happen. And their margin for error has been next to nothing. But the fact that they have elevated their game throughout these stretches while having no margin for error, because the playoffs have been here for 3 weeks.
I think you touched on it. Stephen Kwan 2 weeks ago, that mindset of every game is a playoff game, and they've taken that mindset, day by day, and you got the baseball cliches, but it's true, and it's playing out. And guys like Bo Naylor stepping up and hitting the cover off the ball. So time and time again, you're seeing different heroes every night. It's not just about Kwani and Hosey leading the effort, and that balance has helped.
What's been the push with Bo to be able to get to where he's gotten over the last month and a half?
He's talked about he's done all the work all season. He's put in the work. It's just put that aside and just go out and play. Mm-hmm. And I think that has translated into success, especially at the plate.
So fee-free this week.
Yes,
all right.
But you have to do it by tonight.
Got to do it by
6:40.
Tonight. Okay, and then all throughout you have name the prices of the beers and everything like that. I don't want to mess it up.
Saturday night. Fan appreciation. We were picked up on national TV on Fox.
Okay.
So we're moving from 6:10 to 7:15 Saturday. We've got fireworks. We've got our $1 dogs. We've got our $2 beers. We're going to give away posters of next year's schedule and celebrate the fans on Saturday.
All right.
And hopefully we're celebrating a win.
Excellent. Curtis, thank you very much for the time.
You got it. Go Guards.
Curtis Danberg joining us in studios. The Guardians get set to take on the Tigers, starting a 3-game series tonight. They'll finish up with the Rangers Fan Appreciation Night on Saturday. Looking like it's going to be a lot of fun over there at the stadium. So make sure you get in tonight for the fee-free tickets out there. You got to get in before first pitch tonight. John Greco going to join us 8:02 this morning on how the Browns are going to reconstruct that offensive line, and the trade deadline might mean something different for you. And Tone, they're saying we're being too soft on Joe. That's in 5 minutes on the Fan. Northeast Factor Direct.
I don't give a rip how repeatable that is. For one Sunday, we got to feel what that win felt like, and we have been on the opposite side of that kind of loss so many times. That was a fun day to be a Browns fan, and we don't get to say that enough.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
We have a giveaway for you. Beat caller 8, 216-474-0092. Your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the Gardos take on Detroit September 25th. That's in 2 nights at 6:40 p.m. Progressive Field. It's courtesy of the Cleveland Guardians and Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Caller 8, 216-474-0092. You get to go see the Gardos. Did you see the Chargers Facebook post, by the way?
I just assumed it was fake when you sent it to me.
No, it's real. I'm looking at their official Facebook right now. Boy, they just don't care.
So they left that up?
Yeah.
That was not a mistake?
Yes.
Or it didn't get hacked?
No.
Did they let Jim Harbaugh take over the account?
So it's like okay, Puro Panache Chargers is how it is. So this is in Spanish. And it translates on your Facebook to full of effing Chargers. And I'm sitting there going, oh, they really went for it there.
Hey, you know what? You know, sometimes you want that. You want that unbridled honesty.
You get it.
You want them talking like real people talk, normal people.
My God,
because that's how normal people talk. When the Browns win a football game, how do normal people talk?
Well, how Kevin said it. Kevin said
that's
it in
right.
the post game. He let it fly.
Yeah.
How about that bleeping team win?
We didn't talk about him and Andrew Berry. They had kind of a. It started out awkward the way that they were going to embrace, but then you saw both of them like, yeah, we just pulled that off. Absolutely. Because they knew it. They knew.
Yeah.
They knew they got one robbed from them in week 1.
Yeah, they were excited.
And they stole it back.
Yeah.
With that performance in week 3.
Yeah, I'm glad they're happy when they win, because boy, if they would have just been standing around, I think people would have been going, why aren't you guys excited? We're excited. Why aren't you guys excited? So I'm glad they're excited for it. Which, I'm starting to see a little bit of an argument for Andrew Berry. I just got to flesh it out more before I make it, because there is an out here for Andrew Berry that people ain't going to like. But we'll talk about that at another time here. They're saying we're being too soft on Joe. Is this true?
We are.
Should we be harder on Joe Flacco?
We definitely are.
Well, what are they saying? Usually I pay attention to these things and you don't. I got to tell you. What are they saying about us being too soft on Joe Flacco?
If this were any other quarterback.
Okay.
If it were any of the other quarterbacks we've had over the years, we would have been crushing the QB play. We would have been a little bit more proactive in talking about the next man up. Okay. In this case, it's Dylan Gabriel. And I've tried to dig into the psychology of why I feel the way I do, because he's been really bad. He was good in the Cincinnati game, and the last 2 games, he's been horrific. It really has. Now, with that said, got to give him credit for that pass to David Njoku to get him lined up and have a chance to win the game in a game they had no business winning. So I'll give him credit for that. But overall, it's you're starting to really think like how long can we play like this, get quarterback play like this, because you've had the best defense in the NFL. I don't even think it's particularly close. And you're 1-2, and you very easily could be 0-3.
But why is that being too soft on Joe?
Because if it were anybody else, we'd be saying go to the backup. Wouldn't we?
Didn't I already say go to the backup halfway through the game? It's results based. The veteran is there for one purpose. It's to hold down the fort until the season gets out of hand, and then you can let your rookies play. Guys, if we were in a different situation, if it were Jackson Dart and we had taken a guy number 1, like in the first round, I'd be saying a different thing. This is a 3rd and a 5th round pick. They're not going to be as ready, or you don't expect them to be as ready as what a first round guy is supposed to be. That's part of what taking a guy in the first round means. So I'm not trying to be mean-spirited, or excuse me, I'm not trying to be soft towards Joe. I just don't want to be unrealistic either.
Like if this were Josh McCown, if it were, Jake Delhomme.
If this were Josh McCown and Jake Delhomme, I'd be saying the exact same thing. No, you know what? That's wrong. I'd be saying most of the exact same thing because they didn't lead us to the playoffs 2 years ago. Right. So Joe does get a bit of a special dispensation because he took us to the playoffs 2 years ago. But there's been nothing here where I've denied the truth about who is going to be taking over the quarterback position sooner than later. I said him game by game by now. What more do people want me to say? Do they want me to say he's not a good-looking guy? This group of fans, and I don't even know if they actually exist, or I'm afraid we're giving a megaphone to the vast minority of people out there about Joe Flacco.
You think that's a minority opinion that quarterback play has been pretty bad?
No, the quarterback play has been pretty bad. But to say that we're being too soft on Joe Flacco, I think that that's the minority of people out there. I don't think that's a majority. I've only been honest about Joe Flacco. Right now, he's looked older than what he certainly did 2 years ago, and I know he's technically younger 2 years ago, so that's not saying much. But boy, after the first game that he played against Cincinnati, he looked pretty sharp. He looked like he had a strong enough arm. There were some things there that obviously needed to be cleaned up, but we looked at it week one. He looked as old as the hills 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, and he looked pretty old on Sunday. He didn't look that good on Sunday. It looked like he wasn't seeing the field on Sunday. All those things are still true. I said all that yesterday.
And
so where am I being too soft on Joe?
And obviously he's going up against a really good defense, one of the best in the NFL, at least that's the projection. And let's be honest about his wide receiver situation. We've all kind of seen it's probably one of the worst in the NFL. He's got a rookie running back who missed training camp. Like it's not as if he's got this bevy of weapons. And we like Harold Fannin. I mean, obviously there's a lot to like there, but that was his third game. So I'm going back to 2018. Like I was absolutely calling for Tyrod Taylor, whatever, to be out of there. I mean, they tied against Pittsburgh in week one.
Overall pick behind him.
But why does that matter for how we perceive the QB? I'm trying to get into my own psychology.
Because that guy, number one, is supposed to be more ready to play than third round, than 94 and 144. Isn't that common sense? Why is that not common sense? What am I missing here?
But that doesn't change how we evaluate Joe Flacco.
Yes, it does.
The last 2 games, he's been borderline unplayable in today's NFL, right?
Yes. But my issue isn't with Joe as much as it is they must not be ready to play yet. Dylan must not be ready. If Dylan Gabriel was number 1 overall, well, if he were worth the number 1 overall pick, and he was taken number 1 overall by the Browns or whenever, number 2 or 3 or whatever it is, then you'd be beating the drum for him to go in. You probably would have beat the drum in preseason for him to go in and play because he's supposed to be ready. Third round guys are not supposed to be ready week 4 of the NFL season. So it's up to Dylan to get himself ready. And more than likely, he'll be thrust into there sooner than later. Too soon rather than too late. So this is based on them developing their 2 young quarterbacks. It's not as much Joe. Joe is, right now, I said, I would still start Joe because it's results based and you're 1 and 2 and you're certainly not out of it. I think a lot of fans would say, Kenny, they're out of it. Yeah, I know. They're probably going to be out of it. But as of right now, it's when do the other guys get developed? That's the issue.
What do you think?
When they get developed, then yeah, we'll have that conversation. We'll put them out there.
Obviously, Daryl was on the station multiple times yesterday.
And I hope they're really close.
What do you think of how Daryl told the afternoon show, he's like, the minute you go to the backup in this situation, that is waving the white flag to all the veterans on the team?
I think it feels that way. When you put the third round guy in there by the end of September, yeah, you're waving the white flag to the rest of the team.
I saw the counter argument to this, and I want to get your thoughts.
What's that?
Well, if they stick with Joe Flacco, that's waving the white flag. If he plays like this.
Why is that waving the white flag?
Because he's not good. He has not been good.
What about a rookie? Guys, Joel Bitonio's been here how long? 12 years? How many idiot quarterbacks has he seen in his past? Not that Dylan Gabriel and Shidor Sanders are idiots, but go with me on this. I think that a guy like Joel Bitonio, who is out there with a bad back and playing through this season as much as he can already while it's September 23rd for crying out loud, I think that you'd be much more thinking that you're waving the white flag by playing this rookie than a third-round guy than you would be with Joe Flacco still being out there.
Now,
veterans are going to count on other veterans. They've seen it.
Yeah.
They've been there. They know what this league is. They're more apt to trust other veterans.
Now, I have to admit, part of my bias in arguing the opposite of what I'm playing devil's advocate with you about is I just don't think Dillon Gabriel's good. I don't know why they drafted him.
I think he's smart,
and I don't know if it's that he's not ready to play. Well, I just don't expect him to be good when he plays. What you're going to do?
See, this is the issue. What you have to do with him is that Joe is, and you have a programmatic non-fit in so many ways, and this is where the whole holding on to Kenny thing would have actually worked if you were still out there trying to win football games. And again, I didn't get an answer about whether or not if Kenny is Kevin's guy, then who knows? I don't care what I think about Kenny Pickett. You guys all know I think he's not good, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what they think. If they felt that he could have helped win football games, what the hell's a fifth-round pick when you're trying to hold on to jobs here and trying to win football games? But let's roll with this, right? What do you got to do when you put Dillon Gabriel in? You got to change the offense up a bit. You have to move the pocket because you're not going to be able to see right over the middle because you're 5'9". So you have to move the pocket left and right, get the thing rolling so I can open up windows to one side of the field. Now, I don't want you throwing all over the field anyway, so you're going to have to do that regardless with a lot of guys, but you got to move that pocket and get him freed up so he can hit guys along the sidelines, so he can hit guys over the middle a little bit, not going back on the other side of the field. So your offense is going to have to change.
It changes the foundation of your protections. Yes. It just gets them into a new place, a new identity.
And if it's too soon, remember, it's also you go back to last year when we were talking about you-know-who and how he was running himself into sacks, and there were guys going, he doesn't know where he's going. There were offensive linemen, I'm not going to name names, who would say he's running himself into sacks, he doesn't know where he's going. It's easier when a guy knows what he's doing back there, so it makes it easier to block for him. Now you're going to put your offensive line that's had to make two significant changes here over the last couple of weeks because now I don't know when Jack Conklin's going to go back in, and DeJuan Jones is done for the season.
And Conklin's not able to fight through injuries the way Batonio
is,
obviously.
Now I'm going to have to put KT Levinson at one spot. I'm going to have to put Cornelius Lucas on another spot. I almost said Cornelius Bennett like we were back in the 90s. I'm going to have to put Cornelius Lucas at another spot. I have to let that gel. Then I can start to think about bringing guys in. It's not just whether or not we want to see Dillon Gabriel. We can get to that level, and we can do what the Browns teams have done in the past, and more than likely we will just get to that level. But good God, you got to give the young man a chance. And I'd be saying the same for other young quarterbacks on that roster that I'm not going to say for SEO purposes because I don't want to give Keith the satisfaction. Is that so hard? It's not about being too nice to Joe Flacco. It's about being honest with the young guys that you have. That's what it's about. People just say, well, let's get somebody else in there. Why? He can run. He'll help us win games. Will he? Because it takes 11, and he was a third-round guy. So unless he can all of a sudden play hero ball in the NFL the way that only Hall of Famers can do, you're probably going to run into problems. 216-474-0092. Fine. Are we being too nice to Joe? Are we being too soft on Joe? Are we not telling the truth about Joe Flacco? It's not about protecting Joe's feelings. It's about making sure that Dillon Gabriel, while I don't think that he's the future of the football team, it's about making sure that eventually Shidor Sanders, while probably he ain't the future of the football team, it's about giving those guys their best shot to have any success whatsoever with a team that not a lot of people think are going to win a lot of football games. Instead of just, let's just throw them out there. Okay. Because that's worked out in the past for us. 216-474-0092. Ken Carman, Tone Master General, and Fathers Knows Best. And what Deion said made a lot of sense yesterday. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan.
Anthony Lima for QC.
Skubal goes for the Tigers. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
What's your social media say?
A lot of people wondering if the locker room is truly behind Joe Flacco or if they're ready to...
they're truly behind Joe Flacco.
If they're ready to run the other way if he struggles again.
I think it will start to get shaky, but they're still, when you win, they're still truly behind Joe Flacco. Is that okay? I don't mean to be so cut and dry on it. There's 70 guys in there during an average day. I'm sure they have their own opinions of things. I'm sure there are some people in other corners. But I'd say by and large, the majority would say that they're behind Joe Flacco. I don't think it's unequivocal. But I would say that, yeah, the majority would be behind him. At least for the time being. You will get to... but when you play the third-round rookie... that's when you raise the proverbial white flag on the season. It's not by playing Joe do you raise the white flag on the season. And you disagree with that before I get to these phone calls here?
No, I told you, I don't think Dillon Gabriel's good. So this is, my argument has nothing to do with Joe Flacco.
I'm giving a little more credit than you are.
Yeah, hey, look, we all have our projections on guys coming out. Like, how did you feel about Dillon Gabriel coming out? I mean,
not passionate.
Were you sitting there in the third round going, I hope we draft Dillon Gabriel?
No, I was shocked.
So that's like, he had a good garbage time drive against the Ravens. That's awesome. Preseason, what'd you think of him in the preseason and training camp in general?
Does anybody, let me be honest. Can I ask you this question? Be honest with me, folks. Do you really think Dillon Gabriel's going to push you? Do you really, truly believe Dillon Gabriel is going to push you forward into a different stratosphere, or do you just want to see something more entertaining?
That's probably where it's stemming from.
Yeah.
Well, they assume it's going to be more entertaining. They probably, at this point, honestly...
Did we put up the entertaining poll today?
Well, think about it.
No, not yet.
Guys,
what is Mitch doing then?
If we're going to get that entertaining poll up.
If DTR was here, and you had never seen DTR play, and it was... Because what round was DTR? Was he fourth?
I thought DTR was fifth.
He was fifth. Okay. If DTR was here and you hadn't seen him yet other than preseason, wouldn't fans all be saying, hey, what about DTR? What about his mobility? Wouldn't he be much better than Joe Flacco?
DTR was 140th overall, fifth round.
Okay.
I was going to say, if he's in the fourth round, I got to say something about Andrew Berry right now.
Wouldn't everybody be saying that, though?
Well, what? I wasn't paying attention.
Just knowing that DTR is mobile... Yeah, that he would be a better option. People would just assume that.
You just assume.
And he played a bunch of college, and he had a good profile coming out of college. In fact, was it all that dissimilar from where, if we all thought that Gabriel got overdrafted, was there really that much separation between the DTR profile and grade and Dillon Gabriel? And everybody today would be going, let's go to the mobile guy. DTR is mobile, let's go to him. And assuming it would be better. And
yes,
it would likely not.
But you can assume it's different because it's going to be mid-round to late-round guys. You can't just assume it's going to be better. You can't just assume it's going to be better.
And I've seen a number of Brock Purdy. What about Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy this, Brock Purdy that. Like,
he can get out there. Well, yes.
What about all the other fourth and fifth and sixth round quarterbacks that have been horrendous?
Xavier tweeted us, Twitter actions brought to you by Scheibman Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Now I get along with Xavier so I can mention him without, fear of reprisal here. Is that he brought up Brock Purdy. I'm going to use his tweet as an example. He was one of the people who brought up Brock Purdy. I like the guy, I can mention it. And I'm thinking, yes, that's great. The thing about quarterbacks is that they're different. Just because Brock Purdy might have been seen as ready, and I don't know, Kyle Shanahan with a gun to his head might have not had admitted that he thought Brock Purdy was ready. They might have been in a bit of a dire strait there where your quarterback that you took number 3 overall doesn't look like he knows anything going on, where the other guy, you're just going to go with a guy that you think can be a robot for you right now and you can trust.
They also
to be a robot for you.
They went back to Garoppolo before.
Yes, but This is the issue, is that when you assume that one guy's ready, it doesn't mean another guy's ready. There's been plenty of first-round picks who have absolutely been ready, and there's been plenty of first-round picks that we don't talk about who were never ready because they were terrible. That's what it is in the draft. Just because Brock Purdy was ready doesn't mean that I can assume that Dylan Gabriel or Shidor or anybody else is going to be ready for this football team. It's a different culture with the 49ers. It was a different level of play with them. They were a different team. There was expectations at that time. There are no expectations with this team except for the expectation that a lot of people think they're going to be drafting high this year. There might be expectations for that quarterback next year who they take in the first round because the whole we got to see what we have in these guys. Yes, you eventually will see what you have in those guys. But even if you didn't see what they have, like I get the argument, we got to see what we have in Dylan. Do you? Because is Dylan Gabriel not playing enough going to stop you from drafting a quarterback number 1, 2, or 3 overall? Nope. Shidor Sanders ain't going to do the same thing. Bailey Zappi ain't going to do the same thing. And the guy we dare not mention certainly isn't going to do the same thing. So do I need to see any guy? No, I want to see him. I want to see Dylan Gabriel and certainly Shidor Sanders. Do I need to see him? It ain't going to stop me from drafting a guy. If I don't get to see those guys, I'm going right back to the draft next year. And I think that 99.9% of Browns fans would agree with that. So Dylan Gabriel being ready, I guess I'm just going to have to trust a guy that's hard to trust. It's hard to trust right now in Kevin Stefanski. It's hard to trust right now considering where this offense has been over the last 2 years, which is spinning its wheels in place. And you've let Ken Dorsey come in here and he ran the offense and that was terrible. And you've taken the offense back over and that's been terrible. So there's not a lot of trust there with any of these guys. So I'm just going to have to try to throw any trust I have into what I see, which ain't that great from Joe Flacco, and just assume right now that Dylan Gabriel is not ready yet. But if this continues, I hope he's getting ready because he's going to be in there sooner than we thought. We all wanted to have like a 6-game thing with Joe before we moved on to Dylan Gabriel. I don't know if it's getting to that level.
And QB's
I don't know if it's getting to 6 games.
Backups always come in sooner than you think they're going to.
Because I tell you what, always. They could go out there and they could get hammered against Detroit on Sunday. I know they got to go to London, and it's not the optimal thing to do. It's like, we got to get something going here. If they go out there and they have another 10-point performance, because it was the special teams and defense that bailed you out of that one on Sunday. It was not the offense. So if they go out there and they score 10 points again based on one turnover or whatever, then yeah, man, you're going to be calling for change. And I'm not going to fight you on it. So sooner than later, he's going to get in. I'm not being nice. Am I being too nice about Joe Flacco there? When I'm saying that he can't see the field right now. He's standing there waiting to be sacked right now. He's not as mobile as what he was last year. Well, he's 40 years old. Time's catching up. I mean, those are 3 things right there. Is that being nice to Joe Flacco? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to be honest. Because there was 2 touchdowns that were left on that field on Sunday that were easy pitches and catches for touchdowns that were wide bleeping open. Don't ask just me. Go ask Segura about it. Nathan will call you right now and tell you. Because he was losing his mind on the radio
broadcast. Are you talking
broadcast.
about Isaiah Bond?
Yes. Yeah. You had another one, I believe, to Jerry. He was losing his mind. He sees it up there. Now, it's easier to see it up at the top of the stadium than it is out there in the field. But that's where 18 years of experience with the offense comes in. So it's much less of an excuse for Joe than it would be for Dylan Gabriel. If Dylan Gabriel or Shidor goes in and they don't see it, well, hopefully they're going to see it. 18 years, I can't give you that excuse anymore. 216-474-0092. Let me go to John in Wadsworth. Hello, John. You're first up in the Fan.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
We're doing okay, John. Go right on ahead.
I'm very torn on this argument because I agree with you about not giving up on the season, putting in Gabriel, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on something because, I mean, your maximum scoring output with Joe Flacco has been like 17 points. So in one way, putting Gabriel in, I'm for it because let's try and get some juice in the offense. But do you think this is kind of like an indictment on Andrew Berry? Like, we all knew we're going into 26 to draft a quarterback. And so why draft Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round? You're basically wasting a 3rd rounder on a backup quarterback. The Shidor pick, I get. It was 5th round. It was value, whatever. So you can't really question that. But if you're not going to play Dylan Gabriel,
this is a great question. So this is my issue, John. Is I want to agree with you significantly and go, man, because I felt that way even during the draft. I felt that way that Friday night when they took him. I go, what are we doing? This guy isn't going to be a future franchise quarterback. But I think I need to change my level of thinking here. And this might be me trying to do mental gymnastics. In the end, we'll both find out together, John. How many quarterbacks did they play last year in the NFL, Lima? 67?
Ooh, it was 64? Like 66 or 67.
I know it was like 64 or 63 the year before. We're playing. We have less development with these quarterbacks than we've ever had. We have more quarterbacks playing than we ever have. And so now it's actually becoming a thing, John, where, yeah, if you can get a guy who you think is just going to be able to hold down the fort in the third round or fourth round as a backup quarterback, like if Dillon Gabriel ends up, like say they draft Garrett Nussmeier, number 2 overall next year, right? And he goes on and he becomes a franchise quarterback. But behind him, you have a guy like Dillon Gabriel who you know by the end of this year, hey, he's smart. He can take care of the ball. He's not going to do silly things like DTR started doing. And he can be a solid guy for me for the next 3 years. And then we can trade him or we can use that for currency for another pick. Then that ends up being a win. I think that's kind of what the new NFL is doing, John. That sounds like a giant, maybe excuse, but I think that's the way a lot of teams are starting to think.
No, I agree with that. I just think if that's what they were going to do, I just think a smarter pick would have been, somehow, land somebody like Jalen Milroe. Because at least if you're just going to cash a guy on the bench and just see what happens later, go with, why wouldn't they take somebody that supposedly has this massive, massive upside instead of just a guy?
Well, I was thinking, John, I wasn't even thinking QB at the time. I wasn't even thinking QB. I was thinking, what about a guy on the offensive line? What about a guy in the secondary? You always need guys in the secondary, like guys who actually, because you can only play one quarterback at a time, guys who can actually get on the field. But I got to change with the times, and I think the times are changing. I don't want to get too far ahead and start saying things that are silly, but I also don't want to be left behind. And I think the league is starting to think that way, going, hey, yeah, this guy is going to be a starter, but this guy is going to save us and get us, if we need him for 4 games, he's going to split the difference and get us 2 wins and keep us afloat while we get our quarterback healthy and we can bring him back in the month of December. I think that's the way a lot of teams are thinking now, John.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. I accidentally clicked the thing. I'm sorry, John. 216-474-0092. Totally my mistake. I got to get to Chuck in Cleveland. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, how you doing today, man?
Doing well.
This is what I want to say. The problem with the Browns, every year we're looking for a franchise quarterback. All we need is a serviceable guy that don't throw picks, okay? Now, it's not about Flacco 40, so that's the way the Browns bail themselves out without taking accountability. Next year we should be getting 2 studs in the first. We got 2 guys this year. There's no way we should be drafting the guy. And then again, the quarterback of the future not even in the draft next year. Well, the top 7 guys is bums. Bum, 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 bum.
So that was a nice rhyme. But do you really think that all 7 quarterbacks are going to be terrible?
They won't be. They won't be any worse than the 2 guys we got now that we've been developing. This was the whole plan.
You really think that the guy that they take number 2 overall is going to be worse than Shidor or Dillon Gabriel?
Oh, definitely they won't be better.
No.
These guys, name one that's better than Shidor's last year when he was led to FBS and throwing from the pocket.
I mean, I can tell you right now,
he led the FBS and throwing against the blitz.
I'm sorry, you just haven't been watching Lenore Sellers or Garrett Nussmeier. Then Chuck, I have to tell you, you haven't been watching those guys.
6'5" guy.
You haven't been watching them. I'm just telling you right now. You just exposed yourself to everybody. Those 2 are better than anything you have on your roster right now.
Oh wow!
When it comes to talent, and I'm looking at a couple guys who missed throws.
Put Shidor on the same team. He had a terrible team around him. You put him on Oregon, bro, they probably won the championship. Oh, my God. Okay. But I get what you guys saying.
Yeah, but because you ain't watched those guys. Thank you very much for the call, Chuck.
Well, the whole thing...
I fear that Lenore Sellers goes from the first read right to the third read, which is a check down. But you watch that. You watch a couple of those throws against Mizzou, of all things. Like, Mizzou's a tough enough team. They lost that game, and like, this is better than what we have on our roster.
I know we're not doing this today.
That's just the last game.
We just had a win, so we're not breaking down college quarterbacks or anything like that. I do think it's a little silly that we're not even into the start of conference schedules in college football, and everybody has just seen every quarterback like for a half or whatever, and they're like, nope. It's like that's not how any of the pros evaluate quarterbacks. They don't just make their opinion up in September of a year. And for Arch, he might not even be in this draft. Might be the following year. Like, we don't do that. That's not how any GM would ever operate.
I don't blame fans for being that way. Like, they're going to watch Drew Aller on Saturday against Oregon, and there's going to be a lot, good, bad, ugly, whatever. There's going to be some conclusions drawn. But if you're telling me you've seen Sellers, Nussmeier, either of those two guys, and you're going, oh yeah, our guys are on our roster. The third and the fifth round guys are way better than them. No, I'm sorry. The TV might have been on in the background, but you weren't looking at it.
Are they not going to have first round grades?
Yeah, they should. I would imagine. 216-474-0092. It wasn't like I used the one name on him. Had a good game against Sam Houston? I'd hope so.
Yeah. Finally.
Lord almighty. Going through it right now. There's another quarterback who might be the most annoying quarterback I've ever seen in college football, by the way. You want me to tell you who that is in the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, podcast 10:15 Eastern, 92.3 The Fan Extra on the free Odyssey app. Folks, about last night coming up in 5 minutes, but really it's about tonight because the Guardians series with the Tigers, we are on the cusp of it. We are already in the postseason in Cleveland with the Guardians. About last night, next on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for
to improve air quality.
When you want the latest on the Browns, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0. No one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
We will get to the playoff series before the playoffs here in just a little bit.
We will also get to the YouTube Live where you can see Mitch put on a hat for these segments.
I always wear hats for these segments.
Why?
Because I like the way I look in them compared to when I don't wear them.
Do you guarantee it?
You're going to like the way you look, Mitch. Don't listen to Ken. You look fine.
What do you mean don't listen to me? You guys were all saying it. It was Keith and you who put me up to it.
No, come on.
The story I was going to...
Why are you lying to him? Why you lie?
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter who's telling me.
Let's tee it up.
What matters is the news from yesterday.
That's right.
Yesterday, the Browns made official that they are losing one of their starting offensive linemen for the remainder of the season. This is head coach Kevin Stefanski talking about DeJuan Jones.
DeJuan Jones, his injury will require surgery, so he's out for the season, which is disappointing for the young man. So he'll battle back, he'll rehab, and he'll be ready to roll, but disappointed for him.
Now, Jones sustained a knee injury on a hit by Javon Bullard. That play will be sent to the NFL for review for a potential a low hit, a dirty hit potentially.
Yeah, what'd you think, Kenny? I didn't even think anything of it, obviously, at the game because I was doing a lot of drinking. But once I saw the replays the next day, I'm like, boy, that does look.
It looks bad.
That looks pretty bad.
It's a perfectly legal bad hit.
Yeah.
Well, they asked Posick about it, and he didn't want to answer because you know what his answer is, and he doesn't want to put himself in a bad spot.
Exactly. Well, it's because if you're asking Ethan Posick or anybody on an offensive line, it's BS. It's total BS. And you put your head down there. A knee to the helmet can cause a concussion, and then you go down there and you end seasons. And really, I mean, Nick Chubb's never been the same. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, DeJuan Jones is in his third year. Like, is that? I hate to say it. Like, is that it? He's been injured each of these last 3 years. You can't count on it you can't count on him to be healthy because of this. I mean, it was the fourth play of him being put back at right tackle. I was going to go, well, is he the right tackle now? And do you move on to find a left tackle? No, you can't even have that discussion anymore.
We were texting.
It's terrible.
We were texting because we had caught wind that there might have been a personnel change, and I thought he was just getting benched. Instead, he just got moved over, so the left tackle stuff was over. And now just this stinks so much. Think about how we felt about DeJuan Jones after that Pittsburgh game, his rookie year. TJ Watt, that might have been the beginning of the end of TJ Watt. He might have showed the entire NFL how to dispose of TJ Watt adequately. Because have you seen the advanced numbers on TJ Watt?
Not a good year.
I mean, he's
got paid.
Like
not a good year.
He's like below average. Anyway, this stinks for DeJuan.
Maybe he's too focused on his bank account. Maybe that heart and soul isn't with him anymore.
I thought DeJuan was going to end up being a steal and a real feather in the cap for Andrew Berry, but this is 3 years in a row.
The jogging on that one clip was insane. Going to another AFC North opponent, the Baltimore Ravens last night, falling to the Detroit Lions 38-31. Ravens had a bit of issues on offense. Lamar Jackson sacked 7 times, and Derrick Henry for the third straight week fumbling the ball, his second time in the fourth quarter this season. This is Henry after the game, saying he's at a loss for words.
Lost for words, crazy right now. 3 games straight that happened in my career. Straight fumbles in critical moments. And just gonna keep working and try to implement those situations and be more cautious.
Now, I'm not going to go into the wash territory like I saw some people talking about last night, but Henry having these
Ken was asking the question in the open.
I asked this morning, because if you take away the first game, because we love to just, if you take away this or take away that, if you take away the first game, I don't know what he's averaging, but sure as hell ain't 6 yards a carry. He had 169 yards on the ground in a game that they lost because he fumbled the ball. He had, 20-something yards against the Browns? What was that final number?
Like 24 or 28.
I know
he
had a 28-yard touchdown run. You said, how many he had last night? 50? So over half came on one run? I mean, and you're fumbling the ball in 3 straight games in big moments. Like, guys, it's going to be brought up. He's 31 years old. Sorry, I hate to be the bad guy here. He's a Hall of Famer.
Was fumbling ever...
Don't act like they're not having that conversation at 105.7 The Fan.
Was fumbling ever a big issue with Henry, or did we just... With a guy like him...
But the game that really started it for him was that game in 2020 where He ran it against the Browns. They went for it on fourth down, stuffed him, and then the next play that he got the ball, he fumbled it, and it totally changed the game.
It looked like he placed it on the ground far away from him and was like, here, you guys have it. Remember that play.
I told Ken this yesterday on the phone. I'm really bummed about Nick Chubb. We center everything around our athletes and everything. I'm really bummed about Nick Chubb because Saquon Barkley, wins the Super Bowl and was a huge part of that last year. Derrick Henry is still going strong. Still, you're seeing the burst here and there, and still seems like a big-time factor. He's been able to prolong his career. And I'm worried that Nick Chubb's prime and career is going to be forgotten by people outside of Cleveland. Because there was a 4-year run where I thought he was the best running back in the NFL. And I just don't know that he's ever going to be talked like that. Anyway.
Micah Fitzpatrick, too. He's playing. Okay, he's in the lineup. Okay, he's playing for the Dolphins, so he'll be back in town. You want to boo him? Just saying. Don't throw anything at him. Just boo.
Yeah,
you can boo.
We can all boo him.
On a more positive note, we have playoff baseball before the playoffs tonight. The Tigers come into town to take on your Cleveland Guardians, who currently sit 1 game back of first place, a far cry from the 11 games back that we were earlier this month. We've had a hot streak from the Guardians, a cold streak from the Tigers here, and we have a matchup for the ages tonight. Gavin Williams at 11-5 on this season, taking on the 13-5 Tarek Skubal. And we got him last week, and we get him again tonight at home.
Is it must win? They're
all must
Kenny?
win, aren't they?
I mean, it's been that way for 3 weeks.
This might be the tone setter, especially, though, because if you don't get this one, then that could get the Tigers' momentum for the next two.
We used to do a segment like that called Setting the Tone.
You need 1 win to own the tiebreaker over the Tigers.
Yes.
And someone got nervous because somebody here was making too many political jokes during Setting the Tone.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now we certainly aren't going to do that.
No, you're not.
Not in this climate.
No, you're not.
Where we're a new segment, political overtones.
Not going to do it.
I think it's must win tonight.
Okay, hold on. Mitch just called it a must win.
Because if you don't...
Yeah, they're all must wins.
I understand that, but especially this one...
Must win means if they lose, we're tomorrow burying the Guardians.
I'm not burying the Guardians, but
then it's not must win.
I think it is. I think you can think
then
it
we're
is.
burying them.
Burying the Guardians.
Mitch, if they lose, you're coming on to bury them, and we're playing
It's not going to be easy to win the next two, is what I'm saying, in this sort of playoff-ish setting.
I can't believe you're going to come in here and try to bury the Guardians if they lose tonight. You better hope they win.
And he took
I do
the
hope
hot
they
dogs.
win.
He took the hot dog.
I took one hot dog.
You took their hot dogs?
I took one hot dog, one for, what's his name behind there? Yeah.
What's his name behind there? Joey?
Hey, I'm not the first person who has forgotten his name. Ask Anthony
I didn't forget
Allen.
his name. I don't care about Anthony Allen. I care about Joey Corzarumra, whatever his last name is.
Joey video guy in my phone.
Mitch had to throw somebody else under the bus with Anthony.
Korzanowski, I think, is his last name and how you pronounce it. I'm Facebook friends with family members of him. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I'm sorry, Joey.
That's it for about last night.
Outstanding. Outstanding as always, bitch.
That's the thing about must wins. If you say must win and they lose,
better bring your shovel, Mitch.
You got to back it up. You said it was a must win.
Daddy Dearest was talking on the New Heights podcast. You ready to hear that at 8:22?
Oh, okay, yes.
He makes total sense. You guys aren't going to like it just because of who his son is, but he makes total sense. Coming up next, speaking of that Browns offensive line, how do they reconstruct it on the fly? And could the trade deadline, because of that, be more interesting than what we think? John Greco going to join us at 8:01 on The Fan.
All right, real estate market is something to pay attention to, as always, especially if you're looking to unload your home.
The division by just one game. Listen to the Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows. You can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Find out what happened in Berea while you're working. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Matt Derry, Derry Brothers Guardians cast on the free Odyssey app, and the Locked On Lions. Get two birds stoned at once with Matt Derry. We'll talk a little bit of Lions. We'll talk a lot of Guardians coming up at 9 o'clock. And we'll go around the AFC North
Pistons.
tomorrow.
Not talking Pistons.
No. We will go around the AFC North tomorrow, which, do we have to ask Ken Wyman or Bob Haney from 105.7 The Fan if Derrick Henry's washed up?
If they're worried about just that, they seem unreliable, as good as they are, and they're good. I know they're 1 and 2. They're really good. They seem unreliable.
Do they need
the Ravens?
This is true mental gymnastics as a fan here.
This seems reliable.
I've been through many times where I've tried to talk myself into bronze law. I know we got John Greco coming up here. Just let me say this. This is true mental gymnastics, I would say, if I were a Ravens fan, because I've done it so many times as a Browns fan. Do they need to lose a few more games so it sharpens them for the postseason? Because if you're 15-2 and kicking everyone's ass, then it might make you a little bit sloppy as you get ready for the postseason. You don't battle as much adversity. I don't know if you want to battle diversity. I don't want to battle any diversity.
His algorithms are showing.
I don't want to battle any diversity. But you didn't battle any adversity during the regular season.
Wow.
Next, by the way. They can be 1-3.
Who?
Either one of them. One of those teams is going to be 1-3.
Then they have the Texans.
Oh my God, the house is going to be caving in on one of those teams.
Then they have the Rams.
Oh, this is the NFL, man. You just can't beat it no matter how much you try. John Greco, hello.
Hey, guys, good morning.
You ever said anything as stupid as I just did?
I feel like I've said some dumb things on your guys' show, but
not on this show.
That's show business, baby. Yeah. We're allowed to say dumb stuff.
John Greco with us on the show. John, DeJuan Jones goes down. We all feel bad. How do you reconstruct an offensive line on the fly when your offense has already been not good? Poop, some would call.
Well, it's not. I don't know if there's an easy answer to that. You have to plug in what's available to you and hope Jack Conklin's elbow sorts itself out, and that's a non-issue for the rest of the year. A lot of ifs there, but now you're rolling with your third and fourth, your swing tackle, which is your third guy, and then your fourth guy until Mr. Conklin's back. So you do a lot of the things that we talked about last week in preparing for Green Bay, and it's just going to be borrowing more blockers. I know people get maybe sick of hearing me say that, but that's the reality. And, as long as Joe Flacco's in there under center, he's not going to be as shifty in the pocket and as mobile, and he doesn't have that escapability. So they're going to have to button things up. And, whenever I was in a situation, obviously, playing next to Joe, even in my experiences not with the Browns, because the Browns tackles when I played were like Iron Men. But whenever you had issues at tackle and you had new guys in there and in a way to help them out, they were hanging on for dear life, and the depth of the pocket became an issue because guys were getting edges. So that just made everything so much more important on the inside three with being firm in the pocket and allowing the quarterback can step up. And sometimes they can't do that no matter what. I mean, the guys, the defensive ends or outside linebackers get an edge too quickly. But everybody, all five guys, whoever's in there, third, fourth, fifth, sixth string guys, whoever's in there, because a lot of teams are dealing with offensive line injuries. You have to button it up. You have to firm up, bow up. Everybody's got to block a little bit harder, a little bit longer, and they have to scheme some help in there. If it's running backs chipping on the way out, if it's tight ends, in formation situations where they're chipping on the way out or staying in the block, doing 6-man protections instead of 5, 7-man protections instead of 6. Anything that has to get done to keep the quarterback upright and clean so he can deliver. And guys have to get open, that they execute their routes better. So it's a change. It's obviously it affects multiple layers of the offense.
Was it me, though, John? Am I crazy in saying I actually thought, all things considered, the offensive line held up as well as I ever could have anticipated, given what we just talked about, an injury a few plays in, and going up against Micah Parsons in Green Bay?
Absolutely. I was impressed with the way that they played, all things considered, and given all the the factors. And yeah, that's a talented defensive front, and obviously Micah Parsons, everybody knows that, but. They have some guys, even rotational guys, that would come in that, and look, the Packers are dealing with the situation the Browns do. Micah Parsons commands so much attention, as does Myles Garrett, and we've all seen the conga line meme where there's 3 guys, kind of in a line getting ready to block Myles Garrett, and all that does is create one-on-ones for the rest of the guys, or a linebacker adding on against a running back, or a linebacker adding on free. So our defensive line, as theirs did, their mouths are watering because they could pin their ears back. They could work basically their one-on-one moves, which, that's an advantage to them. And if you have that 40, 50 times a game, of course you're going to be disruptive. So, yeah, to your point, Anthony, I thought the offensive line kind of, bowed up and did their job and put them and a chance to win. And when it mattered, everything that happened in the first, second, third, and until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, none of that mattered. And that's what's the beauty about the NFL. When it mattered, when Joe Flacco delivered the ball to the tight ends and late in the game and set up, which was one of the most beautiful field goal, situational setups that I've ever seen. I know Bubba Ventrone had to just be absolutely thrilled with that. They did, and they made plays when it counted, and they won the game. And quite frankly, they should be 2-1. I know a lot of ifs, but they should be 2-1. And I think fans have to. It's not pretty. It's not going to be pretty this year. Everybody just needs to kind of accept that. But you have the best defense in the NFL, and as long as they stay healthy, you're going to be in these situations. So you're going to see the Browns be, I don't want to say conservative, but smart with their play calling. And if it's 4th and 1 at the 50-yard line, if it's 4th and 4 at the 45-yard line, they might be punting it more often than not, because give the defense 98 yards to defend, and then you get another possession. They flip the field and you work field position. So I'm excited about it. I know we're going to be on the edge of our seats, I think, guys, in every game, because you have the defense to keep you in every game. And as long as the offense can manufacture something, and I think you see some excitement with the new running back, the rookie running back, if the offensive line could just do their job and hold up a little bit and guys can get open and keep Joe Flacco, whoever the hell's in there, upright, I think the Browns can win some games.
I wanted to ask you, because you alluded to how incredible that was with time to spare, that they got everybody lined up. Did you have various coaches that, some were better equipped, some went over that stuff more in game situations? Because that was amazing. Not only did they get that done, it was in the middle of the field. Darren Moose Johnson thought the game was going to be over. And next thing you know, they honestly could have snapped it with 4 seconds left. That's how quick they got everything together.
That was so impressive, guys, the way they did that operation. And every special teams coach tries to get at least one of those done a week. And Chris Tabor, who was my special teams coordinator in Cleveland, who's been around the league forever, was one of the best coaches I've ever been around. And I believe Bubba Ventrone was on the team and played with him, with him, for him. So that's a guy that was a career special teamer, Bubba Ventrone, who's been in multiple meetings, who's been around coaches like Chris. And when you're able to execute that in practice, and it looks goofy, the special teams coaches pleading with the head coach, like, give me one of these reps this week, just in case. And you saw it, Joel's running off. You got guys coming in, leaving, declaring eligible. You got obviously the 3 new guys, the kicker, holder, and snapper coming in, and time's running out. And credit before that to spike the ball. The ref let our center basically spot the ball. I mean, that was incredible. The ref came in and kind of, put his hand on the ball to spot it. But even that execution was really, really well done. So those 2 plays, getting guys in and just how it went was very, very impressive operationally. So, tip your cap to those guys. When they needed it, they made a play. Imagine how sick we'd be here if the kicker didn't get an opportunity to hit the game winner because of a operational mishap, or not a guy not lining up on the line of scrimmage, or being ineligible, or a false start. None of that happened, and they executed it.
We have the wonderful John Greco joining us here on the show. He is a former Browns guard. He is he's a current Browns analyst. Now, you spent a long time in the NFL. You were once a veteran in the NFL. What does it take for a veteran quarterback to lose the trust of the veterans in the locker room? Because I've been saying it's much different between the fans and that veteran quarterback than it is the team and that veteran quarterback. So what does Joe Flacco have to start to do where guys in the locker room, vets, start to side-eye him?
I don't think when you start seeing multiple turnovers when there's nobody around him, and it's just issues where, the protection's there, you're watching the tape, there's guys wide open and they're being missed, or there's guys in catchable situations where the ball's flying over their heads, or the passes look really, really bad, and you start seeing ugly turnovers. Now, things happen in those games where a turnover is caused, and hey, there was a guy that hit his shoulder, or he had guys in his legs, or the defender was all over him and just made a better play. Those are competitive turnovers, I guess I'll call them right now. But when you start seeing really sloppy individual play, where it's kind of like, my God, the other 10 guys are doing their job, and this guy is holding us back. I don't know if he's ever going to lose the respect of the locker room, because everybody knows how long he's played, the success he's had on teams and individually, his leadership qualities, the way he carries himself in the building. He's never going to lose that respect. But when you start seeing the belief around him to where people are saying, my gosh, if a shakeup at that one position is going to change things and make us look different or better, that's when you start seeing it, when guys start questioning it. Are they there yet? I don't know. I can't say that for sure. I'm not in the locker room, but he'll never lose the respect. But that is my only thing that you'll start to see if guys are like, hey, our defense is playing their tails off. Offensively, we're doing enough to where the ball should be delivered, or he should be putting us in different situations, checking plays, changing looks, and it's not getting done. I think that's when guys will start questioning it.
So you don't think that they are questioning it yet, do you?
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I want you to back me up. Because I've been telling people, it's still too soon. It hasn't looked good, and I think I'm willing to make a change earlier than later. I thought, I got to tell you, and I think it is there as results-based as I make it out to be, John, because I'm like, man, they're 1-2. If they were 0-3, I think it'd be on the deck. But, man, they're 1-2. They're still convinced they're still in it in that locker room. I couldn't just make that change when I've just won a game after I just got done, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, telling everybody how a great, complete team win that was.
Yeah, so I'll tell you this. That locker room right now, defensively, they can look at things under a microscope a lot more than the offense can do. The defense is like, hey, look, we got to clean up these 3-4 big plays, a couple of these things, but we're playing championship football defensively. Offensively, if we change the quarterback, is that going to all of a sudden turn them into an offensive juggernaut, a 35-point juggernaut team a game? I don't know. Maybe. But I think it's unfair to just assume that one change would completely flip this around. Now, I think that if you go to Dillon Gabriel, the offensive playbook opens up a little bit. You could probably feature him where, he's keeping the ball a little bit, and that just loosens up defenses and could help his backup tackles and some of these guys that are in there. But right now, I don't want to say they're one-dimensional, but it's just like, hey, line up, give the ball to Quinshon Judkins, let's line up, run a play action, see who's open, let's drop back and hope the offensive line's protecting. I think that is the only thing to where you put a young guy that can move and is mobile, and seems operationally really good. That creates another layer of offense that the other team has to defend. But I don't know. It's just it's too early in the season right now. We rewind when we were talking in the summer when the only conversation was, when are we going to see these two rookies? And it sucked that I hated talking about that, because I was like, we're automatically assume they're going to be 0-5, and then they're going to put Dillon Gabriel in, and then it's just going to be, when is Shidor Sanders coming in? Well, they're 1-2. Yeah, they're tied for last in the division. They're last in the division. But putting a rookie in right now, is that going to be detrimental to his future and detrimental to what he can provide? If they keep, winning a game here and there and remaining competitive, and then you're forced to go to a rookie, that gives them just, each week is so crucial to their development. And if they get a full week of preparation and tailoring an offense toward their specific skill sets, that's what I want to see. I don't want it to be a situation where Joe Flacco looks back, we throw Dillon Gabriel in there, they can't protect him, it looks sloppy, then there's all these question marks, and we start looking at next year.
John, thank you for the good times. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. All the best.
Guys, have a great week.
John Greco on the Fan Hotline. I want to break down what he said about the veterans there. And Father knows best. And what Deion says makes a lot of sense. All that in the neutral zone with Rat Boy and the Hog at 8:44 on the Fan. KC Roofing.
or get to driveclassictoyota.com.
90 East has an accident on the right shoulder at 77, and a disabled vehicle is blocking the 2 left lanes of 90 East and 72nd. Stop and go traffic on 71 North and 176. This is Kayla Coljon on 92.3 The Fan.
Talk sports deep into the Cleveland night. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I want to get back into that Joe Flacco conversation. We're being too nice to him. And we should be harder on Joe.
With Baltimore losing,
yeah,
is it time to start to at least have behind-the-scenes discussions with the show and the show staff about bringing back 7 in Heaven?
No. Stop.
Another win? Are we a win away? You beat Detroit. We're doing 7 in Heaven. Get out of here. Come on.
No.
No. We beat Detroit. We're doing 7 in Heaven.
You guys can do 7 in Heaven. I will go to the bathroom during that segment.
So it'd be like a normal segment.
He hasn't done that in a while.
I haven't done that. I do that during some interviews. Daryl interviews mostly.
The take it from here, Tone.
Tone, take it away. Sometimes the Chef Boyardee don't sit right the night before.
Do we need another camera? Do we need a camera over there to make sure since we're on YouTube?
I don't think you want a camera over there. No, I don't think people want to see that.
Think of the sponsorship No, you just see the face. Yeah. You just see the face. There's nothing else. Now, some places would deem that illegal, I guess. But we're trying
if you guys really want to do it, I'm a showman.
We're trying to monetize.
It's just like put a hole in the wall and then we can...
I'm not going to be doing what that one CNN guy was doing over there, so forget it. I remember that. What a crazy person, but that's a different... You know what? We'll tell that during the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be good lore. It's good stuff.
Is it? Shidor Sanders was on the New Heights podcast. Thanks to Owen.
Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders. Damn it. He was on the New Heights podcast. Shiloh
Junior?
Was not. Junior was not.
Colonel?
No, he was not. Barry was not. No. Here is Deion Sanders on the New Heights podcast. Thanks for Owen because he listens to it. Deion was on the New Heights podcast, and he says Shidor going to get his shot this year.
Have you been keeping up with Shidor in Cleveland? What's the best piece of advice you've given him as a dad and as a coach?
Be patient and be ready. You got to be ready when it's time. But when it's time, you're going to know. And it's coming up. I got a prediction. I ain't telling nobody. I got a feeling when it's going to go down. But it's going to go down this year.
It's going to happen. All right.
Yeah, he can get a shot.
When's it going to go down?
This year.
Yeah, but when this year? He says he's got a feeling, but he says it's going to go down this year. When's it going to go down? Daddy, please.
Does he know something we don't know?
Papa, please.
Do you think he can pick up the phone?
What if they put Shidor out there before Dylan Gabriel?
Well, that's obviously where my mind went to. Do you think he could pick up the phone and get Kevin Stefanski on the horn?
Yeah, why not?
College coach, NFL coach.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's a current coach. Yes, you can get Kevin Stefanski on the phone right now.
But would he, understanding the
he can
role
call into this show
of a head
anytime
coach,
he wants.
But do you think understanding all that comes with now that he's been a head coach multiple places? Of course, he ran the high school, the prep academy or whatever, the prime. What was it called?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I should know, but I don't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That he would understand that you wouldn't want to call a coach. You wouldn't want to distract. You wouldn't want to do anything like that.
Well, what's he going to say? Because there's a difference in going up, as Owen and I know, both as football coaches, there's a strong difference in why my son ain't playing to what can my son do to increase his playing time.
Yeah.
There is a stark difference in that, as Owen will attest, and as I will attest.
Do you think he texted Stefanski after the win and said, congrats, coach, on the first win of the year?
No. Why would he?
I think he's got his own fish to fry right now in Colorado.
He's got his own
wins.
But
you know how the coaching community is. Everybody, it's always a 7 degrees
Small
of
brotherhood.
Jim Fossil. It's always
Pat Shermer was the one that we go.
Yeah, I thought it was 6 degrees of Pat Shermer, not Jim Fossil.
Everybody has been around, and obviously through the recruiting and the combine stuff. I just wonder, because if he's saying that he has an idea of when it's going to happen, I I mean, first of all, is that shade being thrown Joe Flacco's way?
No.
Dylan Gabriel's way?
Maybe, but probably not.
Bailey Zappi's way?
I don't care if there is or not. No offense to Bailey Zappi. He is of no concern to me. Deion was also asked about the whole thing. Was this a Florio report? Well, no, it was Schefter. Who said the Ravens were going to take Shidor, and Shidor said, I don't really want to sit behind. Here's Deion on that.
They made a big deal out of Philly called us on draft day.
Okay.
They didn't mention that. I just let a cat out of the bag. Who was it? Baltimore and the Browns. They forget. I know I played for Baltimore, so me and Ozzie are cool. So we understood that whole conversation, and he wanted to talk to Shidor as well as he wanted to talk to me. And I put Shidor on the phone, and Shidor, I don't want to say how it went, but how in the world can somebody fault him for saying or thinking, why in the world would I go back up Lamar for 10 more years? I've never sat on the bench and said, well, I learned a lot today. Where did these guys come from that sit on these platforms and say, oh, you should have sat in behind and learned the game and been what they developed? When have the pros ever developed anybody? By the time you get to the NFL, they expect you to know what you need to do and to do it, or somebody else go get in there and do it.
By the way,
do you agree with Deion?
Well, hold on. We just got, did we not? The elephant in the room is we just got total confirmation that was 100% true story. Anybody that thought that was a true story, that he was being smeared.
I didn't think that was no. You said anybody thought that was a fake story.
Yeah, a fake story.
Not true, fake. That he was being smeared.
Character assassination. His dad just confirmed it. Yeah. His dad confirmed 100%.
I never thought
that happened. Yeah. So anybody who went to social media and said, why is the media out to get Shidor? No, there's nothing to do with that. Obviously, the Ravens leaked it out intentionally. The morning of the game.
I don't know why they would, but
they just, I think that's the stuff they're worried about.
Maybe that's what. Maybe they're worried about the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's why they're 1-2.
Maybe they should be more worried about their guys fumbling the football. Maybe they should be more worried about that. Maybe they should be worried about the Detroit Lions running up and down the field on them. Maybe they should be more worried about that.
A throwback night.
David Montgomery beating the brakes off you. Maybe you should be worried more about that than putting out Shidor Sanders stuff. Baltimore. The day before your game. Maybe you should be more worried about that than trying to celebrate 30th anniversaries. Oh, they had a Super Bowl celebration. Good. Glad you lost. To hell with the Ravens. Good. Real glad. I hope it comes apart. I hope there's dissension in the ranks. God,
they showed Ozzie. Yeah, they showed Ozzie last night. And look like he was crying.
There looked like there was a tear in his eye. Anywho, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Shidor.
So it definitely happened. That's all. It definitely happened.
It definitely happened. One, but does the thinking make sense to you? Because it made sense. If they don't feel that there needs to be a developing, and he's saying, like, they don't develop anybody. Who do they develop? Well, that's a hell of an argument right there.
Well, and he said there was two other teams. It was Philly and it was Baltimore.
Yes.
They both have their starting quarterback in place and plan to have that starting quarterback in place for a decade.
And everybody, I saw this yesterday, and everybody was getting it wrong. So we went to the Browns. Really good decision then. Guys, if you want to play this year, and you're in the 4th round now, going to the 5th round, the place you would go is Cleveland. How many quarterbacks have we started over the last 3 years? Like literally a dozen over the last 3 years, 4 years? I think during Kevin's tenure, he's started the most out of anybody as long as he's been. Like Sean McDermott's only started 1 or 2 based on injury. Kevin has at least 12, doesn't he?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, it was 6. It was 5 like back-to-back years.
Yeah.
But some of them were repeated, weren't they?
Okay, some of them are repeated. You're going to get your crack. Does anybody think Shidor's not going to play this year? Anybody in this room think that we could go a full 17-game slate and not see Shidor Sanders this season?
We're 3 games in, and
he's playing this year.
We're thinking Gabriel could be in at halftime next game.
You think he could be in at halftime. We haven't had that argument yet. Does anybody think that Shidor's not playing this year? No one in this room. If Mitch can hear me, maybe Mitch has an argument. Does Mitch think that he isn't going to play this year?
He'll play at some point.
Okay, so that's 4 out of 4. I'm imagining Joey makes it 5 out of 5. I think he'll play this year. So, hey, you can say he's full of it and he needs to sit behind whatever. They're not going to do it that way. And they'll sink or swim based on their decision. If he goes out there and he looks completely overwhelmed and overmatched, I mean, honestly, he's a 5th-round pick. I think he'll probably always look completely overwhelmed and overmatched. So he'll get his crack at it, and if it works, great. We'll have a much different conversation, And I'll have to get the one guy who said on the phone that Shidor and Dillon were better than anything coming out of the draft, and I'll say, I'm sorry, I didn't think Shidor was going to be as good as Lenoris Sellers or Garrett Nussmeier. You were right, I was wrong. I don't think I'm going to have to. If he looks overmatched, then we're just going to move on.
We would be happy to be wrong.
Maybe he'll be a backup somewhere else, or maybe he'll go up to Canada or something like that. Who actually knows? But if your goal was to play this year, which was his goal, certainly, Cleveland's the best place for you. Now, it doesn't fit a lot of people on the internet's narratives about that, how Cleveland is sabotaging him, whatever that means, that the NFL was sabotaging him. All right, I mean, Eric Dickerson brought it up. It doesn't fit a lot of that because it's going, well, you're on one of the worst teams in the NFL going into the season. You're in one of the worst quarterback rooms in the NFL going into the season. You would have the shot over a lot of people. We brought up the Saints situation. We brought up the Jets situation. They have guys who you just paid Justin Fields. He's still relatively young. They're going to give him all the reps in the world. Same thing with Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck down there in New Orleans. With the Browns, hey, it's as wide open as you get. You got a 40-year-old journeyman there in front of you. You have a 28-year-old journeyman there in front of you who has since been jettisoned. You have another rookie with you. And both of you guys are probably going to get a crack at playing this year, unless Dylan Gabriel gets his chance and it's just that good. But I don't think that much of the people around there think he's going to be. I think Shidor is going to play this year, we'll find out.
Does it make anybody feel better that the organizations that Deion just said in that clip had reached out to him, potentially draft him, are good organizations? Did that make the Browns fans feel any better? Like, because we thought here, I'll be honest, I thought that was an owner pick. I thought, all right, we're going to sell jerseys or, we'll capitalize on it one way or another. All right, well, Philadelphia and Baltimore. Those are two teams that also were apparently looking after him.
I think it makes anybody feel better when one of those teams are calling. Philadelphia, certainly. So, yes. But I also think that what this does, it does turn on its ear a lot of the silly theories that you and I thought were silly. I think it turns it on its ear. He's going to get his crack. I'm sure that if he goes out there and he struggles, some people say that for whatever reason, Kevin Stefanski, who's fighting for his job, is going to tank him on purpose or whatever. But he will get his crack at it this year. And if he wanted to play it the right way, or if he wanted to play this year and he's doing it the right way, he'll get his crack at it. And he'll have a chance. And we'll see where it goes. And if it doesn't go anywhere, we'll just draft a guy next year and we'll move on. I think it bothers a lot of people that this is what he wanted to do, and right now he's on his way to doing it. I think there is a lot of people out there that, for whatever reason, want to give him some comeuppance that really doesn't even need to happen. I think that you're more arguing with Shidor fans than you are about Shidor Sanders. I don't think that he gets in the gutter like that. And I think that people need to realize that. This is the right decision for him if he wanted to play this year. If he wanted to develop, it's a terrible decision. If you wanted to sit back and learn from great players, it's a horrific decision. That's nothing he wanted to do. He wants to play. He's going to get his whack at it. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Matt Derry going to join us on the show. Derry Brothers Guardians cast on the free Odyssey app. Are the Guardians going to make history this week and win the AL Central? And next, the Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog. The Week 3 edition coming up in 5 on The Fan.
Anthony Lima for Mentality.
easy. With approved credit on select new models, financing for well-qualified buyers through NMAC ends 9/30/25.
Sign up to be a part of the fan club. Download the free Odyssey app and follow 92.3 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 92.3thefan.com. It's time for the Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog. Crank it up and rip off the knob.
Hell yeah! Time for Rat Boy and the Hog. Let's go, Mitch.
Rat Boy Hog, good to meet you once again. Week 3 in the NFL had a number of storylines, including our weekly Jacksonville watch. Now, the Jaguars beat the Texans 17-10 to drop the Texans to 0-3. We'll get to that in a bit. Jaguars are 2-1 on the season so far. We're looking at the likes of Travis Hunter right now, the number 2 pick overall in the draft. Had 7 tackles on the day, a team high with just 1 catch for 21 yards, and allowed all 4 of his targets for positive completions. But the big story in this one, the performance of him compared to the performance of the likes of Mason Graham for the Browns this week, kind of got some people talking about the trade made during the draft week.
Yeah, Mason's a better player, and the Browns extracted another first-round pick out of the deal. This was Andrew Berry, true wizardry, laser beams, and for once, I'm not mocking the laser beams. He deserves them for this move. It was a genius move. I can't believe anybody didn't give him an A+ the minute the move happened. I know they might not have liked the Mason Graham pick, and I've already got people saying, well, there are offensive linemen available there.
Hold on. You keep talking.
The reality is, like, I thought Mason Graham was the safest pick there at 5. That was my big time projection and draft punditry analysis. I thought Mason Graham was going to be a good pick. He's been way better already than I thought he would be. And they got another first-round pick. And Travis Hunter's not going to be a lockdown corner, nor is he going to be an elite wide receiver. Boom, boom, boom. Wins across the board.
Playing 42 snaps in that game. You're right. It's not a sexy pick for the Browns, but it's one that's efficient.
I have a very
Anybody want to apologize to the people mocking that pick? There were Browns fans. They wanted flash. They wanted show
vomiting during camp.
Controversial thing to say.
Let's hear it.
Miles? No. Whoops. All right. Mason, Isaiah, Carson, Devin Bush, thumbs up, thumbs down.
It's been thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Absolutely right now.
Greg Newsome, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Great.
Okay.
They've all been great. Has anybody not been great?
Hold on. Not Denzel. Grant Delpit, thumbs up, thumbs down. Aiden Huntington, thumbs up, thumbs down.
That's dual threat in all of football.
Alex Wright, thumbs up, thumbs down. Mahmoud Diabate, thumbs up,
He's
thumbs down.
He's naming names. I told him save
thumbs middle.
Save the energy. It's all thumbs
Cam
up.
Thomas. Cam Thomas has a sack. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs middle. Thumbs middle. These are all Barry guys.
Mm-hmm.
Defense is number 1 in the league.
Yeah, you've been here 6 years. Everybody should be Barry guys. Right?
So I did think about, except the 2 best players are not Barry guys.
Can we get an offensive general manager? You can leave Barry, but we need an offensive GM.
You know, it's hard. I
have offensive coordinators and defense coordinators.
I told you, I've given Andrew Berry the credit for this draft already. It looks like it's going to be sterling, and it might be enough to save his job. You know, we're going to be talking about that for a while. The only thing it's hard for me to know is if you have a foundation of prime Myles Garrett, who seems to be getting better every year, and Denzel Ward, should be a lot easier. Your job is a lot easier.
So John Dorsey laid the foundation. He poured the concrete on the rebar, and now Andrew Berry has built the house of defense above it.
Yeah, now because think about how many different defensive linemen they have had in the mix over the last 5 years. But the reality is, if Myles is going to keep getting better, it just makes the job so much easier on everybody.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Going to our next storyline here, a tale of 2 different seasons so far. The 3-0 Buccaneers, specifically against the 0-3 Texans. 2 teams that have played some very close games throughout the first 3 weeks of the year, but we're looking at the way these teams are able to close out games like the Buccaneers have, or the way the Texans have fallen short over the last couple of weeks. A big thing about the Texans and Buccaneers too, the quarterback play. Baker Mayfield has looked like an MVP. CJ Stroud, people are now starting to call maybe washed in just year 3 after a solid rookie campaign, which is surprising.
His offensive line's terrible.
QB.
Well, when you say washed, what do you mean by washed?
Saying as if they need to move on from him and go into a full... I saw full rebuild talk on social media last night.
What quarterback is going to be able to perform behind that line?
That's what I'm wondering.
Like, he's definitely been disappointing. He has not overcome it.
The Lord and Savior Patrick Mahomes.
But
even he wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, I think any quarterback would struggle behind that offensive line. I think we do rush to judgment. They beat the Browns in that playoff game, and all of a sudden, D'Amico, we were saying this. I was guilty of it. Like, holy cow, CJ and his coach, like, they are going to be another team to contend with, and it's like, now they really aren't. They really haven't been.
I agree with everything Lima said. Moving on.
Going to another AFC South team, the Titans. The Titans are struggling and have been one of the worst teams in the first couple of weeks. They're not just 0-3 on the year. They're not just coming off a horrific loss. They have been getting it from their home crowd for the last couple of games. They had a section at near halftime where there was 2 timeouts, there was a delay of game, a botched field goal attempt. There were boos raining down in Nashville, and the Titans are in a situation where if Brian Callen's not careful, he might be the first head coach let go in this 2025 campaign.
He does seem like it is going to be a crash course in them getting rid of him, and I thought would it be funny if they offered his dad to be the interim head coach?
You're going to get rid of a head coach halfway through your rookie quarterback's first year?
It's been really rough.
It can be detrimental.
That's how rough it is. Like, when he admitted...
hold on, we thought it was detrimental. I mean, he played for 4 different head coaches in like 3 years. Yeah, it was pretty detrimental.
When he admitted, the head coach, that he didn't know the rule, basically, that 1 elbow, 1 butt equals 2 feet. Like, he didn't know that.
Over his head.
Then they had a disastrous
over his head
moment last week where there was timeout, and yet they came out, delay a game. I mean, you just can't give the media and the fans, you can't give them stuff to easily reference every time. Like, is his dad? Do you think his dad retires, or is he going to be available again to be an offensive line coach?
How old's his dad? Mid to late 60s now. He may just walk. He might just call it a career, man. Of course, coaching keeps some guys young. Some guys, like, they get burned out. They can't do it. Some guys. I saw Tim Rose down there at Ashland. He's still doing it. He's in his 80s.
He's going to be 70 next year, Bill Callahan.
He might walk away from it. He might decide that's the end of it.
That's the end in the neutral zone.
What if Haslam
what's the rest
offered
of the
him
name of the
with
neutral?
Rat Boy and the Hog?
Thank you.
What if
wait a minute. Say it correctly or don't say it at all.
It's the end of the neutral zone with Rat Boy and the Hog.
Thank you.
What if Haslam offered him offensive coordinator money? Come back and be the...
Well, then he's going to come back for the money.
Okay.
Yeah. He's probably already making a lot of money as it was as the offensive line coach. I mean, Bill Callahan can't come cheap. The guy coaching a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. Okay? I don't know why I had to, like, K with you. That's fine. Matt Derry going to join us here in 5 minutes. Are the Guardians going to make history and go back-to-back in the AL Central as division champs? Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan. Time.
You want to talk about a big week of baseball coming up. It's here. Playoff baseball. You wanted playoff baseball? We didn't think we'd get any of it when we had lost 10 in a row, when we had lost 9 in a row, when we had suspensions. Feels like every game is a playoff game now. To talk about that and so much more, joining us on the Fan Hotline, it's Matt Derry from the vaunted Derry Brothers podcast. I am a frequent listener. I love when they name drop the show. We always appreciate that. Matt Derry, welcome on in.
What's up, fellas? Yeah, Anthony, anytime I can drop you in, as we know, you are a hardcore MLB elite, so have to do
Entrenched.
it. Have to do it.
Matt, what is up, my man?
Can you believe this, Kenny? I mean, let's go get Scooble tonight, man. Let's do this.
Do I look like I'm scared of that dude after what we've done to him?
You look terrified.
Not very scared. I know we're underdogs. We are underdogs tonight.
We're underdogs?
Yes, we are.
How's that possible, man?
They should be. I mean, come on. Derek Scooble is the best pitcher on the planet, and I know he's not 100%. You can kind of tell. I was in the stadium on Thursday in Detroit for it, and he was wincing a lot and a lot of stretching. He's got a side issue that he's been dealing with, but man, he's still at 80 or 70 or 80%, still as good as anybody. So it's not going to be easy, but the way these guys are playing, how they're playing together, they're loose but focused, and the Tigers are gripping right now. You can just tell they're very tight.
Matt Derry joining us here from the Derry Brothers Guardians cast. We'll also ask you a little bit of Lions later on, but this is a Guardians interview we want to do with you. What has been the change in the lineup, specifically Bo Naylor, with his approach? He's been better here over the last month.
I don't know. I mean, maybe just a confidence thing. He's had some decent swings throughout the summer, but when you're hitting below 200 and you're popping the ball up a ton and just right now he's got a swagger as he comes to the plate. You just see the confidence there, and it's huge. And I'll tell you what, Stephen Vogt deserves a lot of credit because he was putting Bo in the 5-hole, and my brother and I on the podcast or whomever was saying, what is he doing? Why is Bo Naylor sub 700 OPS, and why is he hitting fifth? But there was something Stephen Vogt saw in him. Maybe it was pregame work, maybe it was stuff in the cage, whatever, and it's clicking now, and it's been huge for them because they're still challenged offensively. We know that. The reason why they've won 16 of 19 is because of the pitching mostly, but a guy like Bo Naylor's really stepped up at a huge series over the weekend, and so got to keep it rolling.
All right, well, you brought up the pitching, and I had the number earlier today. It might be a little outdated now because it was from a couple of days ago, but runs allowed last 18 games. Cleveland, 28. Next closest, the Cubs, 65. Minnesota, dead last, 119. So it shows you just how dominant they have been. Is it dominant enough not only to push them to the finish line here at the end of the year to get them in the playoffs, but also for them to legitimately have a chance to win in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think they can. They're at a stretch, and Tom Hamilton brings this up all the time on the broadcast. I think they're in a stretch where there's going to be a little bit of regression. I mean, come on, if they're averaging, like you said, Anthony, a run and a half, giving up a game, that's nearly impossible to keep up. It just isn't. You got two pretty good offenses coming in this week with Detroit, who's not been swinging the bat well at all, and then Texas, and I know Texas is kind of out of it now, but still have some guys that are elite hitters in their lineup. So that'll be a good test, obviously. But I love what they've done with the 6-man rotation. Guys are rested. The bullpen's been really good, and he's got confidence in these guys. Look at the confidence that Vogt has put into Tim Herron over the last couple of weeks. Now he's delivering. So guys are feeling good. I just don't know, Anthony, if they can keep this kind of run up where it's a run and a half a game. That's kind of tough to do.
What did you and your brother say about Tim Herron after the other day? Because I had to come out and admit, I was like, man, there's not a lot of confidence when he goes out there. And I know some of this is a crapshoot, but man, you got one on, nobody out. He goes out there, strikes out the side. I mean, that's just a big outing and a high leverage moment.
Well, remember, Ken, the week before against the Royals, Vogt put him in a spot where they had a lead in the 6th, and he came in instead of Saprowski.
He got smashed.
And we were both like, what is he doing? Like, Tim Herron hasn't pitched well all year. Was just down at AAA. Really only came up because Nick Enright was hurt. But the way he pitched in Detroit, the way he pitched in Minnesota, you could tell he's got the curveball's working right now. He really has lefties have had a hard time with him, so that's great. This is the Tim Herron from last year, and if, like we just said, there's a confidence right now. You can see what Carl Willis and that pitching factory have done with some of these guys. Slade Ciccone pitching with kind of confidence never had before. A Herron, Festa, although I know he was bad over the weekend, but like that guy was off the scrap heap, and they found a guy that, as we like to say, Festa Live. That's a daily show. He's out there every day, so it's been working. It's been great to see.
The 6-man rotation. How much credit do we need to give Vogt and the organization for coming up with this? Because it seems like it's got other teams, especially Detroit, kind of having to match them, having to react to the move that they made.
I think a lot of it too is just trying to limit innings and outings for these young guys. I mean, Logan Allen, Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, these guys are all probably around their innings limit for what the guys in the front office, were thinking about to start the year. They also wanted to take a look at Joey Cantillo because I think they felt he was ready to come back up and contribute. So you can't take Messick out. You can't take Logan Allen out because he has pitched pretty well. So they're like, hey, let's go with 6 guys, save some innings and some, the arms of these young guys. And then it just so happened that they just start winning all these games. Let's be honest, Detroit has helped. I mean, the Tigers are choking. They are. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Are they a bad team? No, they're still really good. They had 4 or 5 All-Stars this year, and the next 2 nights, Skubal and Flaherty are legit starters. They got a good team. But they're just gripping right now, and so them losing, I mean, the way they played this weekend against the Braves, they were not even competitive Friday and Sunday in 2 of the 3 games. So that's helped that they've been losing and the Guardians have been winning.
Matt, looking at the job that Stephen Vogt has done, looking at the job this organization has done, how hard is it or how easy is it for you to make separations between the ownership and everybody else? Because we've had some people, and it almost seems like they're rooting against him just to kind of prove some sort of point to the Dolans, or like the Paul Dolan would learn some sort of lesson. And I'm going, man, it would take a lot of years. It'd take at least a few years of really, really, really bad baseball for them to kind of change what they're doing. And I'm going, man, I think you can separate it. Like, I think a lot of owners are meant to be disliked. I think the vast majority of owners are meant to be disliked by their fan bases. So I think it's easy for me to separate ownership with the team. Has it been hard for you?
At times it has, yes. I mean, look, when they were in the doldrums this summer and below 500, and Anthony mentioned the 10-game losing streak, I mean, Ken, you're like, we just don't have enough good players. And why is that? Why didn't the owner go get or tell his front office to go get a real right fielder, a real center fielder, whatever it was? And they're playing a lot of young guys. And yes, they've got faith in the young guys, but the young guys are also cheap. They just are. That's how it works in the game. And so sometimes you get frustrated, especially when they're losing. But man, the way they're playing now, how they're playing for him, I think Stephen Vogt has kept an even keel the whole time. I don't think he ever brings stuff like that up. I think it's always about, I like our team, I like our players. And at times this summer, I was like, what do you like about Daniel Schneemann playing every day? What do you like about John Kenzie Noel's OPS at 400? But yet these guys have all contributed in some way, and he's stuck with them. And it is the little underdog and the little engine that could, but eventually we all want a championship. Like, this has been fun right now, having a blast. But, if again they make it into the playoffs and make a little bit of a run, and then the big bad Yankees or the high payroll Blue Jays beat them, then we're going to have to get back to that discussion, because it's still about getting a ring, is it not?
True.
6 games to go. What is their record, do you think? Oh, we won't hold you to it. I'm just, for anybody listening,
hold them to it.
What's their record need to be to make the wild card? What's their record need to be to win the division?
I think, let's say they lose tonight. Let's just say that. All right, Derek Skubal is the best on the planet, man, as far as starting pitchers in my book. So if somehow Skubal pitches great and maybe Gavin does his job, but we lose 2-1 or something, all right, you're 2 back. But if you can take the next 2, it's Thursday. I don't even know who the Tigers are starting. They basically have 3 starters, and that's it. Casey Mize pitched on Sunday, so that's up in the air. So if you're even going into the weekend, remember, Detroit has to go to Boston to play the Red Sox. not easy. The Red Sox have to win games to make the wild card. And the Red Sox have a guy in Alex Bregman that the Tigers offered a pretty decent contract to. And if Bregman somehow were to come back this weekend and kind of pulverize the team that really wanted him, that would be a storyline to watch. And then the Guardians are playing a Rangers team that are really bad on the road. So I think as long as you're not swept this week, well, obviously if you get swept, it's over for the division. But I think taking 2 out of 3 in both series, I think you're in good shape to at least get in somehow and root against these other teams. But I'm not going to go the Darryl Ryder route and guarantee the division, but I like their chances. I do.
What right now, we talk about puckering up. What is the vibe where you live in Detroit?
It's bad. It's bad. I mean, thank God the Lions won last night because the Tiger fans they're furious. Remember, they don't like their owner here either. Yes, Chris Ilitch, the owner, went out and got Flaherty and Gleyber Torres on 1-year deals, which was more than what we did, but at the trade deadline, instead of going and getting Justin Verlander or a bigger name, they signed Charlie Morton and Chris Paddock, or they traded for Charlie Morton and Chris Paddock. Paddock is in the bullpen. He's brutal, and Morton was just DFA'd. So there's anger here that they're choking, and they deserve it because of the lack of really a go-for-it mentality they had at the deadline when they had the best record in the American League. So there's people here very angry at what's going on, and man, if they were to lose tonight with Skubal, that could really, really snowball.
Are there any comparisons between Paul Dolan and Chris Ilitch?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Other than they're both baseball owners?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, Ilitch has 2 teams here, and the Red Wings have been bad for 10 years. They made the playoffs in 10 years. So there's anger with their fans. There's anger with our fans, with our ownership. I think there's a lot of these mid-market owners. I think Ken and Anthony, we talked about this earlier this summer. I think a lot of these owners are looking at 2027 and, kind of keeping the books tight and maybe a lockout and not spending until after they figure out the labor situation. And that's sad because you want to at least try. There's this year and next year. So, but yeah, there's some comparisons for sure.
And the reason I ask that question, everybody, is because, Paul is Larry's son, and Mike Ilitch was the owner of the Detroit Tigers before he passed away, and Chris is his son. That's why that question is asked. Matt Derry joining us here on the show. Your scale of confidence, 1 to 10, in Cade Smith as a closer?
It's probably up right now, so I'd probably say 8. Is that? I think that 8 is accurate. He seems to be throwing the ball much better. Look, I was there Tuesday night when Kerry Carpenter took him deep. I mean, that was a good pitch. That was 98 high and outside, and you got to tip your cap sometimes. That dude has a lot of power, and that was dead center. It wasn't like he threw a cutter at 88 right down the middle. I thought he hit a good pitch, but I like the way Cade's been throwing the ball lately, and man, the rest that he got over the weekend, not having to pitch Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I think is huge for this week.
All right, Lions, Browns, Sunday. You host Locked On Lions as well, so I have to ask you about this. What's the sigh of relief? No Ben Johnson. Week 1, not very good, but the offense is humming the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but the Jim Schwartz revenge tour is this weekend.
Okay.
Woo!
All right.
I'm being serious. Actually, the Browns defense, man, what they did to Green Bay was impressive, and Mason Graham is playing great. I think the Lions right now, that's the key to the whole thing is offensive line. Against Green Bay in week 1, that group, especially the interior of the O-line, 3 new starters there, were horrible against the Packers. Last 2 weeks against the Bears, and everybody watched last night against the Ravens, and I know that was sweet for Browns fans to watch. I enjoyed it. The offensive line was great. They just dominated. It helped that Matabike was out and Kyle Van Noy was out, but still dominant. So now you're talking about a Mason Graham and a Myles Garrett going up against Decker and Glasgow and those guys, and that'll be great to watch this week. But the confidence level is very high here after the last 2 weeks.
What are you concerned with their defense at all?
Terrion Arnold, their second corner, and obviously their number 1 pick from 2 years ago, just has not played well. I would expect that the Browns would try to pick on number 6 a little bit. But otherwise, man, Brian Branch is a stud. Hutchinson's starting to get healthy. Linebackers are really good. And yes, they gave up 30 points last night, but the way they bottled up Lamar Jackson, 7 sacks. Nobody saw that coming, and a lot of it was coverage downfield. DJ Reed has been a nice addition. And there's two safeties, I think, are the best safety tandem in the game. So won't be easy, certainly it never is with that offense. But Lions defense is better. It is.
Is this a classic game where fans go up to Ford Field who are Browns fans and they see and they go, "Oh, this is why we're getting a dome"?
It's been years now that the Lions have played there. They moved in, 2002? I remember when my brother and the EP, as we call him, came up to Cleveland for Lions-Browns. That was the Stafford injured shoulder game. Yeah, Ford Field's pretty cool. I'm a proponent of outdoor stadiums, growing up in Cleveland and all of that. I think the Browns should be playing outside, but, man, Ford Field is a gem. It's really good. And, yes, when you get into November and December, it is kind of nice that you're inside, and it's changed now. All these teams are playing indoors and trying to get Super Bowls and Final Fours, so I see both sides of it.
Matt Derry, at Derry Speaks on social media. Derry Brothers Guardians Cast. It's available on the free Odyssey app as well as Locked On Lions. Matt, thank you for the time.
Fellas, first thing yesterday morning, I was up at 6 a.m. so I could see on the YouTube channel Super Bowl, Super Browns.
What did you think? How did it look?
I would say a 7 out of 10.
Only a 7 out of 10? Why?
You know why. No Michael Stanley. We're working on some things behind the scenes. So,
but can I say 10 out of 10 for Ken's cigar video from Sunday? I love that. The cigar and the laughing I love that. That was a 10.
I had a boss send me something. I didn't even know it was my boss's number. I didn't even know it was my boss who sent me it. I got nervous, but he liked it.
Good. No, yeah. I liked it too. So, all right, boys, let's go. Let's get it done.
Matt, thank you very much. The great Matt Derry. Derry Brothers Guardians Cast on the free Odyssey app.
In basketball, we've done flip the switch. In football, it's Super Bowl, Super Browns. What do we do if the Guardians pull this off? It'll be one for the history
books.
We
go, oh, that's just fine. That's what that's
nice.
Called.
We tip our cap.
Yeah, you tip your cap in baseball is what you do.
That's a fine. How do you do?
Yeah, that's what you do it like they did it in Field of Dreams when he does that thing with the head tip. And then he has to leave because his daughter's choking to death because Timothy Buzzfield and Kevin Costner get into it and she falls off the seat.
Yeah,
now
no
he
one's
just
paying
has
attention.
to be a doctor the rest of his life.
Poor Archibald Graham had to be a doctor. I mean, there's worse things. I mean, there's a lot of guys who fail as ball players and they do God knows what.
Yeah, but dealing with the insurance companies
on travel
today.
Teams, yeah. Now Archibald Graham became a doctor.
Pharma.
Oh.
What are you trying to say?
Finding out things about Tylenol we never thought.
Coming up next, I got to find this here. As hard as it is to do this without seeing him, we got to try to focus on Dylan, not Joe. Ken and Anthony, fat and thin in the morning on the Fan.
Catch the full episode, listen by the hour, or jump straight to the highlights.
Just open up your favorite podcast app, search our names, and hit the follow button to get every minute of the show.
Your way and on your time. Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Sports Talk of the Fan. It's presented by Paramount Plus. Sylvester Stallone is back in the original hit series, Tulsa King, this season. Dwight Manfredi faces his most dangerous adversaries yet, forcing him to fight for everything he's built and to protect his empire. Watch the new season of Tulsa King, now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
It's the reason I held on to it for a minute. But to see how you do it, you did a good job.
Oh, no, you got it. Come on, you ain't going to do Jeremy's impression? I thought you were going to do Jeremy's impression.
We'll let it go.
How is Jeremy doing? Has anybody talked to him?
I tried to text him the other day. He didn't text me back.
You tried to text Jeremy Piven? Yeah, he didn't text you back.
Didn't get back to me.
When's the next time he's coming back into town?
Wait, maybe Owen.
When he's low on funds.
Maybe, Owen, you needed to text Sylvester Stallone.
Where's your entourage now?
Let's tee it up one more time. Let's see if we get it this time.
Sylvester Stallone is Tulsa King and his most dangerous adversaries yet.
Side effects include anal bleeding. You know what I mean? So you can't quite understand him. Lots of rooms. You have a good time doing without.
Why do I do it?
It's a force of nature.
Why do I do it? Why do I give the fake laugh?
You're making him feel comfortable.
I'm trying to, and I didn't want to do it.
You are letting all the entertainers know this is a safe space. We welcome your brand of comedy.
But it's such a hey-oo, like,
and we will help put you over, and we will sell tickets, and maybe next time we'll get part of the door deal.
That's literally what happened.
I think it's the death of comedy.
That might have been. That segment might have been.
That was the death of comedy. He comes in, he does the Sylvester Stallone impression, and I'm going, in my head, I'm going, this is not going the way I wanted it to go.
Which was spot on, thank you very much.
I can't believe this is going the way I thought this was going to go. I can't believe we're not doing this.
I mean, I thought he was a real person.
And it went right to hell. No, you didn't.
Okay, great.
No, you didn't. You didn't think it was the real person.
I looked him in the eye, and I said, I'll try to get to his show.
You looked him in the eye and you said, I think I can arm wrestle this guy for custody of his son. This is that good of a Sylvester Stallone impression.
I looked him in the eye and I said, I want to watch Tulsa King live on Paramount Plus.
I've never seen Tulsa King. Is it good?
Couldn't tell you.
Has anybody in the room seen Tulsa King at all?
I am from Tulsa and do not plan to watch Tulsa King.
The best is...
But thank you, Paramount Plus, for being part of the family.
I never watched Hot in Cleveland.
The best, neither did I. Actually.
I never saw an episode. I watched a lot of Drew Carey show.
The best is that when we knew we were having Piven on,
never watched Northern Exposure.
I did.
I texted somebody who was on the show with him and said, "Hey, if you want to come on down," and he's like, "That's okay."
Wow,
that's okay.
Well, you really narrowed it down there, didn't you?
Yeah, that's okay. I'm thinking we can get a reunion of sorts. This will be great.
The one guy who's famous for being on that show that lives in the area. It's going to be hard to narrow that guy down.
He's like, I'm good. Yeah, wish him my best. Okay.
By the way, when's he coming back? Text him.
Yo, he's
not Jeremy. The other
here's
one.
The thing.
I don't need to see Jeremy anymore.
He moved
until
here.
He comes back to town. Then I'll act like we're friends.
He moved here because of COVID, right? And
who?
There was
Jerry
Turtle, yeah.
Okay.
He moved here because of COVID, and then there really wasn't anything going on. And now
so he just decided to stay.
Now he's got things going again.
I'm so used to things not going on, I'll stay here.
Yeah, now he's got things going on again. So he's traveling a ton. So he's really not here that much, but he's got his 2 kids, and his wife's a native Clevelander.
Okay, but what's that do with getting him on the show?
Then as long as Jeremy Piven's not here, maybe he'll show up again.
Neat says TK is actually a good show. I don't think it's a bad show. I don't know if it's a good or a bad show.
I haven't seen it.
I know it's very popular and that people like it. I saw the first 6 episodes of Landman. I thought that you could binge watch it. I saw it until Jerry Jones showed up. And then I didn't realize they were releasing it week by week, and I have no idea what happened after that episode. So I have no idea.
Ever get the land?
Man. I saw that one. At first, I didn't like. At first, I was like, because it was flirting with blindside territory.
Okay.
Because I always make people upset because anybody who you ask who their favorite sports movie is, if you get 10 people, at least 3 are going to say either The Blind Side or Remember the Titans. Probably like 6 are going to say it. And those movies I hate. I hate The Blind Side because you know the true story now, and it's terrible. And all it is just set up for Sandra Bullock to do one-liners. And Remember the Titans, it's just I don't like precocious children in the stands that people seem to listen to, which isn't the truth. 99% of children are not smart.
Movie.
Well, those things I'm fine with. Owen, don't even start. Don't you start either.
Sound like a real Gary Bertier at the beginning of the movie.
No, I'm not Gary Bertier at the beginning of the movie. I don't like the movie.
You keep it up, you're going to end up like Gary Bertier at the end of the movie.
I can name you a million Denzel Washington movies that are better than that. Man on Fire, Training Day, Power Ranking, the better than Remember the Titans. I'll do them right damn now. There we go.
I got one in particular, and you know which one that is.
Remember the Titans, Training Day, Flight's amazing.
Flight resonates with me in a special way.
I'm drunk right now.
Drunk right now.
My wife goes, "What are you doing? It's 4:00 on a Sunday." I'm drunk. I'm drunk now.
I can't get past Denzel. His mouth as he's gotten older. I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's.
You leave Denzel alone right now.
Yeah, it's his mouth is like relaxed in one area.
Maybe he's had some health issues.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It's affecting his speech, and I can't. I'm sure there's something going on, but I can't get past it.
John Q is the best one.
Oh yeah,
John Q's great. I love Man on Fire, man. Man on Fire is excellent. He was great in Philadelphia. I didn't see Philadelphia until a couple years ago.
I also feel like Denzel's playing the same. He's just playing the same character in so many things now.
That's okay. He knows his role.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of range there.
Yeah, when's he going to come out with a comedy?
I don't want to hear it.
Hey, Robert De Niro could do it.
You guys all love.
And then 20 of them.
Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen plays the same character in every single thing he's ever been in.
A new documentary.
Yeah. And by the way, he even plays a guy named Charlie in the TV shows that he's in.
And I was bored 20 minutes into the documentary about Charlie Sheen. If you're boring me 20 minutes into a documentary about one of the least boring people ever, then you're doing the documentary wrong.
Let's call him Charlie Clean now.
Maybe that's why it was boring.
Lima wants to see.
Maybe we needed a different version of Charlie Sheen.
I'm trying to look up his film. Not Charlie Sheen. I'm trying to look
disappointed. No Tom Berenger in that documentary.
Well, that would have added another hour and a half to the
Denzel
documentary.
Washington might be my favorite actor ever.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm serious, man. Like the Pelican Brief, Philadelphia. He's the only redeeming thing about Remember the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
American Gangster. Oh my God, American Gangster with the salt.
Yeah, I saw that.
Amazing.
Recently again.
Antoine Fisher. What else did he have? I mean, Malcolm X, Glory, Training Day. He's I forgot the Hurricane.
How could you forget the Hurricane?
He's the best. He's the best. He might be my number one.
And Justin Baldoni is mine.
Jack Nicholson is up there. I'll be upset when Jack Nicholson passes away. Abner on West Boulevard.
Let's
you
get
next up
to
on
it.
the Fan. Hello, Abner.
Hey, gentlemen, let's get something straight right here. I didn't hear no one mention this movie. Okay, shout out to Caitlin Clark when she was here 2 years ago playing the Nettie. It's called Kicking and Screaming. What a phenomenal movie. Okay, let me tell you something. I did improv for fun, but you know what? They cut me. They cut me because I did stand-up, and I guess I wasn't good enough. Needless to say, I blocked all of them. And I told them they didn't cut me. I quit. Or I left them. But regardless, gentlemen, I want to hit something about Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is phenomenal, guys. But you know, we're the Browns, and the Browns suck at rebuilding. They can't rebuild. So, what does that mean? Abner, why are you saying that? Let me tell you something. Myles Garrett, you saw what the Packers gave up for Micah Parsons? Myles Garrett is double the player. So I think we can at least guarantee get 3 first-round picks, if not 4, for the phenomenal player yet, because we're going to waste Myles Garrett's career. Okay, let's be honest. We're going to rebuild this year, and because it's the Browns, it's going to take another year, and before you know it, Myles Garrett is 33, and we just wasted him. And you know what? Let me tell you something, too, man. Why the hell? Johnny Manziel, one of the best college quarterbacks ever. Baker Mayfield, one of the best college quarterbacks ever. We keep messing that up. At some point, stop drafting quarterbacks because you as a franchise, you cannot draft. Just sign one. sign one on the market. You know what? I leave you with this. Baker, we need you back, Baker. Please, I'll name my firstborn daughter after you. I'll name her Baker Mayflies. Okay? All right, God bless you. You know what? Shout out to Rottweilers, the best dog breed ever, right? Gentlemen, good luck.
Rackham.
He's in.
Oh, we're putting him in? When is the smack off?
Now notice.
It's not about...
Now, Mitch.
I'm
Mitch,
teasing
Mitch,
to the
were
next
you hearing
segment.
that? Was Mitch hearing that?
Wait, I missed the last part.
Notice, no pronounced elongated transitions. It was one thing to the next. Very conversational.
Who's talking in the background back there? Coming up next, you got to focus on Dylan, not Joe, which is impossible because you haven't even seen him. Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan. Window Nation, I want you to see your...
Zycam.com.
You can listen to The Fan anytime, anywhere on the free Odyssey app and by telling your smart speaker to play 92.3 The Fan. Now you can find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all the best content from your favorite shows on The Fan each and every weekday.
Back of the Fan. Should we be meaner to Joe? Harder on Joe? We got into a big debate about it. It's not about being nice to Joe. It's not about covering for Joe. Speaking of quarterbacks, the most annoying quarterback in college football, I will tell you who that is at 10:15 Eastern on the emerging podcast scene.
Are you satisfied with the work that Joe has done so far through 3 games?
Absolutely not.
He was good against the bad defense. He was bad against the good defenses.
Probably should be a little harder on him then.
I don't think he was that good.
But would that be good enough? Like, if he struggles against the elite defenses and is good against everybody else, then you'd make the playoffs, wouldn't you?
You say he was good against the bad. Okay, you're asking a bunch of questions. Yeah. Hold on. Answer those and I'll ask mine. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, if this continues, like, he should have opportunities against Detroit this week. And then you get into it the rest of the way. We start looking at a lot of winnable games. The Miami game now. And I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's 40, though.
He goes up against Carson Wentz in London.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like our defense will win that game now. Like, I've totally shifted my expectations on certain
they're playing the Steelers the week before in Ireland, I believe.
Yes.
So they're just staying there. They're going to be... I would assume that's good for them. Acclimated to,
Don't you have to cross some body of water over there? I'm not
Yeah, familiar. But it's like is it the English? It's like Channel? Going from here to Windsor.
Yeah, but is it like the English Channel or whatever it is?
You got to swim it. The whole team has to.
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
They got 6 hours. They better get their asses across. You're not going to be at the game on Sunday.
I have no idea what it is. Okay. Now that you guys have answered your questions, let me say this. We set a low bar here for quarterbacks. So I don't think that Joe, going back to the Cincinnati game, what did we give? Did we give like a grade for the Cincinnati game for Joe? Or do we just say like B or something like that?
I think so.
Okay. If you gave him a B, we also know that we set a low bar here. So if we were fans of about 10 other teams that have had good quarterback play in the last decade, I think that we would be probably pretty disappointed in his performance against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Why disappointed?
Because
the 2 turnovers weren't his fault. They should have been caught. And then it changes his stat line completely.
You're telling me you can't drive your offense down the field at all? Remember, like we've seen quarterbacks like Josh Allen has been able to drive offenses down the field. And I'm saying this is coming from a different perspective. If we had a better quarterback perspective over the last decade, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, Joe Flacco's got to be dropped in here. We're going to set a naturally higher bar. So I could, and you know what? I have to go back and watch the video, and I'm not going to do it because we're on to Detroit by now. But I could see myself that Monday going, hey, instead of getting mad at Andre Schmidt like I did, or mad that we missed kicks. He didn't do it on purpose. Here I am saying it again. He didn't miss it on purpose, but getting mad about missed kicks, I should have went, no, your quarterback play should have been good enough. Your play should have been good enough offense to not put yourself in that position. Their defense is terrible. You lost 17-16. You can't score more than 16 points against that defense. What did Carson Wentz put? Wait a minute. Now here I am doing devil's advocate like you do. This is fun.
I know. I do like it.
What did suck-ass Carson Wentz do the other day against that team?
Remember, you had Judy dropping third down throws. We didn't have Judkins in that game, so we had a third down back that had to go the entire game. That really that should have never been his role in that game. Your receivers have been an issue. You're relying on rookies like Harold Fannin.
But what tells you if we had a better quarterback play over 10 years.
Yeah, DeJuan Jones out there. At left tackle.
I didn't think it was that horrible. It just wasn't that good. But again, if you had a different perspective, we've had terrible quarterback play for the most part for 25 years. So we have a very low bar on passable QB play. So if we said that was good, it probably wouldn't be that good if you and I were on 550 WGR up in Buffalo, or on 105.7 The Fan, or even on 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. Our perspective would be different because we would have had better quarterback play sometime over the last decade. But we hold an exceedingly low bar for Joe. But what I'm getting away from what I really want to say here is that I have to task everybody with trying to pay attention to the readiness for a quarterback they can't see. We're just assuming things. We're assuming because we want to be more entertained. We are assuming that the veterans are going to get tired of being with Joe Flacco. We are assuming that Dillon Gabriel, we got to see Dillon Gabriel. It's just not true. I had a buddy of mine, a longtime buddy of mine that I've known since middle school, my buddy Zach. He texted me during that segment, cussing me out. Going, absolutely, we need to see what Dillon Gabriel has. These rookies are college quarterbacks are terrible. Okay, so we're going to talk ourselves into not taking any quarterbacks when we did a 2 first-round pick thing for this coming year to not take a quarterback. We're going to do that again? Guys, get comfortable with one of the QBs because you're going to take one. And I'll tell you what, for Browns fans' sake, I'll say this. You better hope and pray Drew Aller puts it on Oregon on Saturday, and then on November 1st puts it on Ohio State. Because you'll be a lot more comfortable then. You will be so much more comfortable. Because it's classic, more bigger body, drop back guy, doesn't really run. I want to make it as comfortable as possible. Because everybody else, you're going to have questions. Garrett Nussmeier isn't the biggest guy in the world. Garrett Nussmeier leaves throws out there. Lenore Sellers, I do have questions of going from the first guy right to dump off. First read, dump off. First read, dump off. He's got a big arm. He's a hell of an athlete. I want it to be as comfortable as possible for you. So when Dillon Gabriel plays, it's about his readiness to go out and play because his future more than likely is as a backup. Dillon Gabriel is not stopping us from taking a quarterback next year. We're just afraid, again, to take QBs. Because we had our heart broken once and the rest of them suck.
So you don't think if Joe Flacco plays away, he played against Cincinnati in the games upcoming, you don't think that is a recipe for this team playing winning Browns football this year?
They can win. He played well enough against Cincinnati. They lost. They can win. But it's not a recipe for winning Browns football. He doesn't play well enough for you to win. If he would have played well enough for you to win, you'd have won. He didn't play well enough to win. He certainly didn't play well enough to win against Green Bay, and you won. So you were able to rob one, and then the other one we say, well, he should have been 2-1. He didn't play well enough to get that job done. That defense is terrible. You should have been able to score more than 16 points. You should have been able to do more than just having Andre Schmidt trying to save you at the end of the game. You should have. You didn't. So I can blame it on the entire team game. And by the way, I'm saying everything that he would have probably said himself. If things would have been better during the game, we wouldn't have been so mad about the missed kick at the end of that game. So, yeah, we set a low bar here. Is that hard enough on Joe Flacco for everybody? Everybody who wants to make a change? And I don't even want to make a change.
It seems that you sound different today than you did. Maybe it's because we've had 2 more games.
Of course.
You sound way different today on Joe Flacco than you did after the Cincinnati
game. And part of and a big reason behind that is because I set a low bar for Joe. And the other thing is I don't believe that Dillon Gabriel is yet ready. That nothing they've done has told you that Dillon Gabriel is ready to roll. Somebody just tweeted at me Fernando Mendoza. Hey, I like Fernando Mendoza as much as a lot of people. I know he just had a great performance against Illinois. Maybe we need to see him when a team doesn't have 5 defensive backs getting hurt before a football game. I know they put up 63 points. There were 5 guys out in that secondary.
In a sweater. I'm sitting here talking about.
Do it all day. Watch that game. No offense to Fernando Mendoza. It's going to take a little bit more than that. You like that, Owen? Owen likes it when I start mixing it up about the QBs.
I like QB mix-ups.
Yeah. Owen likes it when I talk tough about some of the college guys. You can tell. His coaching career is almost done. He's only got a few games left, and then he's hanging it up, and then he's back in his college football fan.
Back into college football watching.
Yep. Thanks, everybody who joined us today. John was excellent. Matt Derry was excellent. Curtis Danberg, he was excellent and brought hot dogs, so he wins. Best guess of the day.
And then Mitch said it was a must-win tonight.
Mitch said it was a must-win, and he's going to be hard as hell on the Guardians if they lose.
Yes, if they lose, according to Mitch, season's over tonight.
What do you think of that, Mitch?
This is the end of my
better win. Does that see? Wow. Does that set up a pretty big matchup?
He is writing checks. His ass better cash. Emerging podcast scene, 10:15, 92.3 The Fan Extra on the free Odyssey app. Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
This